What we've been saying forever.
Maybe what we need from a conservative standpoint is
the Marc Cox Morning Show.
I respect that. We don't agree. Listen to both sides.
This,
let's get it on,
is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
All right, good Friday morning to you. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Mark. That is Kim St. Ange, Ethan Bright in studio, and we will get to Susan Thomas in here in just a few minutes once we get her out of bed, and she'll check on the traffic for you. I'm just kidding. I'm sure she's up already. It's a little chilly out there this morning. I had to put the hoodie on before I ran out the door when I realized that it was like 46 degrees outside or something like that. That was a little bit of a shock to the system, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely chilly, but it sounds like it'll be really nice.
Yeah, it should be a beautiful day.
Before more rain comes.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Just what we all want.
Enjoy your Friday for sure, because the weekend may not be as nice as we would like. Like, for example, if you were going camping or something, right, Ethan? You have any idea what the weather is down there?
I heard raining all weekend, so that's what I'm expecting.
Where are you going?
Down to Branson. Old 86.
Okay.
I know some pools, at least in the St. Charles County area, you know, they typically would open on Memorial Day weekend as the unofficial kickoff to summer. And sadly, many of them I've seen have delayed.
Are they really delaying it?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Well, it's supposed to rain. I don't even think it's supposed to be that warm. It's not really the grand opening for the season that most of these pools would want.
Well, I mean, here's the thing that I've discovered with a lot of them. It's just, at least coming out of COVID, they've struggled to staff the pools anyway. So if you're paying somebody to sit down there and there's nobody there, I mean, I guess that's one of the expenses you have to eat along with it. Anyway, following a couple of big stories this morning, and number one, this plane crash out in California. What a horrible story. These people flew all the way from New Jersey, made it all the way back to San Diego, and crashed 2 miles from the airport in fog. It sounds like at least 6 people are dead from the airplane, nobody on the ground from what we can tell. And some music industry folks were on board. At least the founder of a talent company. It sounds like we don't know who the names of all the victims on board are at this point, but we'll follow that story for you throughout the course of the morning. And then, of course, the reaction and the fallout from the big, beautiful bill, including a whole lot of belly aching going on about, it's gonna keep poor people from getting health care. This is the big strategy lie of the left. The more people we can hook on the public dole, the minute anybody tries to cut any of that funding, we can run to the media and claim that old people are starving or poor people aren't getting health care. You have to. What we're going to do for you here this morning is remind you just to some extent what's gone on in this country, particularly in the state of Missouri, and I'm sure probably across the river in the state of Illinois, about the fact that that we expanded Medicaid spending when we were rich and fat and happy on the federal dollar, with the warning that if the federal dollars ever get cut, Missouri taxpayers or Illinois taxpayers are going to be on the hook because those programs aren't just going to go away. And now that's exactly what's happening. And we're having to listen to people bellyache about it. And I don't have my empathy runs dry there at some point. So we're going to talk about that a little bit this morning. Got into it with a few people on social media about that yesterday. I'm like,
you never do that.
This
Mark.
is your fault. I don't want to hear you bellyaching about it now. I warned you about this 5 years ago when you were passing this stupid constitutional amendment. Here we go again, expanding Medicaid because it made us feel good. I'm like, they're federal dollars. 80% of that is federal money. What happens when it dries up someday? What happens? And that, fortunately, I mean, I was kind of hoping it would dry up because it's going to save us a bunch of money, taxpayer money. and they don't care. You just should care about the poor people who won't get, who are laying around, who might have to work now in order to get their benefits. Boo-hoo. I'm sorry. I'm not, I haven't missed very many days of work since about, I don't know. Let me count the 1979 or 80. So it's been a few years. If I can work, most of them can work. A lot of them can work. So we're going to talk about that a little bit this morning too. Oh, sorry, I'm getting on a soapbox already. Ethan, let's get to our top stories, please.
The Marc Cox short list.
3 clear goals: restore the warrior ethos, rebuild the military, reestablish deterrence. None of this woke DEI, CRT, gender pronoun, green new scam stuff. That's all out. Ideology is out.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary of Defense. Pete Hegseth there, kind of spelling it out. And boy, isn't that refreshing to hear? Thank goodness. So, a little common sense back in the military.
The president and the attorney general have both indicated that, in cases where the death penalty is warranted and seems appropriate, we will use it. It's far too early to say whether that is the case, but this is a death penalty eligible case. Yeah.
Janine Pirro talking about the murder of 2 Israeli embassy staffers outside of that event in Washington, D.C. They've got the guy. They know why he did it, and I hope he faces the chair.
96% of all the stories that mainstream media prints about Elon are negative. 96%.
Yep. Joe Rogan, Aaron Rodgers there together on a Rogan podcast, the NFL star, talking about a whole bunch of stuff, including the number of deaths now that they've revised those VAERS reports on the mRNA vaccine.
Missouri's lawmakers from both parties have spoken out against cuts. Just last week, Senator Josh Hawley went on record saying he wants to protect Medicaid for working families. And earlier this year, he said he won't vote for anything that cuts Medicaid.
Yeah. That was the story that they did. I wish I had known this yesterday morning when we had Hawley on, because I would have asked him about it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I like Josh Hawley. I agree with him on just about everything. When it comes to this issue, my question would be, what part of saving money is the problem here? All this does is impose work requirements on able-bodied human beings who could work to get some of the free benefit they're getting from the federal government, or it's waste and fraud that's being cut out of Medicaid, which needed to happen a long time ago. But people get used to suckling on the taxpayer's teat until they have sore chapped nipples, and they don't want to stop once they start. And if you take a piglet off of that teat, they start squealing, and that's exactly what we're starting to see here.
I have no problem with forcing people, able-bodied people, to go get a job. I think that's probably part of the biggest issue we've seen. I mean, this has been going on for years and years and years, but we really saw it exacerbated after COVID, because a lot of these restaurants couldn't find people, and they were telling, when I would ask, what's going on here, they would say people aren't showing up to work. And I think when you are on federal benefits, it's easy to say, oh, I'm making every effort I can to find a job. And even the food stamps, people are all wound up about the fact that they want to try to clamp down on what you can buy using food stamps. They don't want you buying junk food, but there's this mindset of, even though I'm receiving some sort of assistance, I should be able to do whatever I want. It's my way.
It's all part of the strategy. We've fallen into the trap too many times over the years. That's why federal government programs never get smaller, because once you start giving somebody something, taking it away, they're going to squeal about it. This never should have been expanded in the first place. Here's part of the post I responded to yesterday. I'm not going to say who posted it, because you'd probably recognize the name. Missouri passed a constitutional amendment to expand Medicaid in 2020. The current Republican budget guts federal Medicaid spending. Missouri now has 1.2 million people out of 6 million in the state. So Missouri would be financially liable for the cost if the federal government guts this. Senator Hawley is speaking out against Medicaid cuts, most likely because he knows if Missouri's on the hook for these, a host of tax breaks passed on the state level can't happen. Where will Missouri get the money? And of course, every leftist on here is chiming in. It's a really good question. I hope the big, beautiful bill gets stopped in the Senate. And I pointed out to this bunch of morons, this is exactly the problem with these dishonest constitutional amendments pushed by powers outside of the state of Missouri, who spend millions of dollars to lie to people and lead them to believe they're doing something good by expanding Medicaid back in 2020. And when all of that debate was happening, had you been listening to this show and other shows with just a slightest bit of common sense, there are a few others out there with the slightest bit of common sense, you would have heard us saying, wait a minute, slow your roll. This is an Obamacare effort. Obamacare largely worked because you didn't. Obamacare only works if you don't, because you have to be subsidized for it. And one way they added all those people onto the public dole getting health care was by expanding Medicaid, which means lowering the threshold to qualify for benefits, right? And all of a sudden you've got all these extra people on basically socialized medicine, which is what it is. And then when you start to try to take them off and they're not getting the social, of course they're going to scream about it. Mm-hmm. They should never have been put on it to begin with. These are able-bodied human beings that are capable of working, but they're low income. Let them go get a job and help to pay for some of this stuff. Why should the taxpayer be on the hook for any of this? And this is another reason to argue for IP reform, so that populist arguments like this can't tug at people's heartstrings with fake commercials they spend millions on to run on TV and convince people we need to expand Medicaid. Well, now it's in the Constitution, and there's not a dang thing any of us can do about it as taxpayers in Missouri. So when the federal government funding gets cut, which I pray it does, guess what? Your taxes are going up. My taxes are going up, all because of these idiots who came in here and spent hundreds of millions of dollars all those years ago to convince us we needed to expand Medicaid in Missouri. It was a bad idea to begin with. These are the chickens coming home to roost, and we should never have expanded it to start. All right, I'm done with my soapbox. Ethan, who's got our national anthem this morning?
Today we're going to go with Ricochet.
All right, let's hit it.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we've watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. Happy Friday. We look good on the roads, and it's pretty sunrise. Right now, we are in great shape, and that's through North County, throughout the entire area, Missouri and Illinois sides. I did just get a report, though, of an accident near the Social Security building, 650 Gravois Bluffs. So if you happen to be in that area, you may see some flashing lights. But other than that, we're off to a good start, at least at this hour. Wait, let me see if this report is brought to you by anybody. No! I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, this message is brought to you by my friends at Grasser Electric. How about that? They are out there ready to help you in the event of an emergency, maybe weather-related like we just saw, or just an everyday electrical annoyance, because that's true. If you've got lights that, flicker because of a circuit in your house that maybe it needs a bigger breaker. Maybe you got a 15 amp, you need to upgrade to a 20 amp. That's pretty standard in a lot of houses these days. There's more demand on our electrical systems, and houses years ago weren't necessarily built to accommodate that. So Grasser can show up. They can fix that in no time. I would highly recommend against trying to do it yourself, because there are lots of exposed wires in those breaker boxes, and you could end up getting hurt. Here's what else they'll do. If you were one of those people without power for 2, 3, 4, 5 days after that last storm, think how nice it would have been to have one of those backup generators you hear about all the time. Grasser installs those. They've got great whole house backup generators that are powered by natural gas. And within about 30 seconds, your power going off, guess what? The generator automatically starts up and powers your home and your refrigerator and your deep freeze and all of that stuff. Be the envy of the neighborhood. Call Grasser today, 636-441-5200. That's their emergency number as well. Online anytime at grasserelectric.com.
Your garage door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home. When it needs help, call the experts at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Their certified technicians repair all brands of doors and openers, and you can even schedule evening and weekend service. Just call 314-781-5200 and always look for the red ribbon. It's your assurance you've got the genuine, the original Overhead Door, the most trusted garage door company in St. Louis since 1926. For same-day service, schedule online at overheaddoorstlouis.com. 314-781-5200.
Tony LaRussa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-million. That's 314-9-all-zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Making radio great again. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Find everything Marc Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
You have got to be kidding me. That was my reaction yesterday to the story about the City Emergency Management Agency. Yesterday morning on this very show, Kim St. Ange will correct me if I'm wrong. We pointed out that the one thing we didn't know the answer to was what kind of workshop were the SEMA employees all attending? Probably mandatory workshop they were forced to attend on a week ago Friday before that storm hit. Because you're thinking to yourself, well, I mean, maybe, just maybe, they were attending a workshop that probably focused on improving your reaction time if there's a tornado, because I'd be all on board with that. I think that would be a great thing if the emergency management people were focused on something like that. Sarah Russell spoke with confidence that they were just down the street in the 1500 Market Building talking to at a workshop. Listen.
In the emergency management office on Friday at all, or
no?
Okay.
Our full staff was working on Friday.
Were they in the office?
We were in the 1520 Market Street building for at the time of the storm. We were conducting a workshop with other partners, but we were working the storm in that capacity.
Yeah,
Can you tell us when the full report?
We were working with our other partners, but in that same capacity, we were working on the storm. You know where they were? They were at a workshop on climate change. Climate change will continue to create new uncertainties and pose disruptions. And the workshop was held to help participants, quote, learn and develop skills to increase agility and collaboration in city functions so that employees can respond nimbly and effectively, end quote. Unless, of course, there's an actual tornado. This is what your tax dollars in the city of St. Louis go to support. No doubt, I have to assume these workshops don't take place without the stamp of approval of the director of the city emergency management agency, who's now been placed on paid administrative leave. So she's sitting at home drawing her $100,000 a year salary, waiting for them to officially fire her, because that's what's going to happen.
Well, also, would our tax dollars not have funded this workshop for them to all attend?
Well,
I don't know how many staffers had to attend, but surely it was a lot.
These people flew in from Washington, D.C. They're part of an NGO called the Air Collaborative in Washington, D.C. The workshop would deal with the nonprofit's Air Shift program, which is detailed on the company's website, designed to help people discover new ways to think about the power of creativity and to challenge your mental models about art, business, community, and money. And it uses a hands-on collaboration, design thinking, and business planning to grow creative communities and economies.
I joked that what they were probably doing was trust falls, and it's not too far off.
It is not very far off from that at all. I'm on the website reading about this a bunch of nut jobs in DC. Air, it's how we thrive. At its core, Air Collaborative is an empowering ecosystem. Do you get stoned and then dream up these descriptions? That's what I'd like to know. It's an empowering ecosystem that provides creatives, businesses, and communities with the tools, the resources, and the support to realize their potential. Diverse community members can learn from each other, support each other, and put both creative vision and business know-how to work. Just pay us money and we'll come and BS you for 2 hours. That's what it was. That's what you were paying for while the city was being destroyed. We'll be back with Kim on a Whim.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
All right, let's go. It's time to upgrade the inside of your home. It's that wow factor I talk about all the time. We had it when we walked into our home and saw the beautiful engineered hardwood flooring that we had put down from Michael's Flooring Outlet, and it's gorgeous. It's durable. We don't have to worry about our 60-pound golden retriever scratching it, and it's going to last us for many, many years. You'll love their options at Michael's Flooring Outlet. Great Mohawk products as well. Last time around, I bought some waterproof wood flooring for my bathroom. You want that dark wood look, but you don't want to worry about stepping out of the shower and getting water all over it and making it swell. That's not going to happen. They give you a waterproof warranty, an all-time pet warranty with Redwood Select. So ask them about that. Go visit them or they'll come to you. They're, of course, they're in Darden Prairie. They're west of 270 on Olive, and they're out in Old Town St. Peters. Go to IGotFloored.com.
I'm Stuart Varley, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Wall Street heads into the long Memorial Day holiday weekend with an update on the housing market today. The Census Bureau reports new home sales for April. Economists are predicting weaker sales than March. David Towle, president of ProChain Capital, says investors are still concerned about the rise in interest rates globally.
You've got Japanese yields spiking as well. You've got UK inflation at 30-year highs. And certainly, as we know, high interest rates in the United States are going to make commerce difficult, going to make financing balance sheets of companies difficult, going to make housing, moving, unthawing difficult.
Tech company and defense contractor Booz Allen Hamilton reports earnings today. The bond market closes early today ahead of the holiday weekend. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola, invested in you.
Need life insurance but have diabetes, high blood pressure, or on anxiety meds? If you're a 50-year-old male, even porky, or with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of life insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. For affordable term life insurance, call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013, 800-444-2013, or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. 800-444-2013.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning. We look really good on the interstates in the metro area at this hour. If you're headed out the door, eastbound 70, 64, 40, and 44 all look good from out west into the city. We look fine on northbound 270. Quiet on the Illinois side. So far, so good. If something comes up, I will, of course, let you know. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Brennan at McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyhomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Love getting together with my friends at the Retirement Advisory Group. Of course, we did that on Tuesday of this week. A great group of people who showed up. Thanks to all of you. It was great meeting you. In the meantime, if you didn't get to make it Tuesday, but you'd still like to hear what they have to say about protecting your nest egg, you can go sit with them anytime. They're going to talk to you for free. There's no obligation to go sit down and talk to Thomas Helbig or Bob Kershaw or Tammy Kershaw. They're happy to do that. This is a family-run operation, so you're not meeting with some big conglomerate somewhere, and they'll explain to you exactly what they do. Pretty simple. There's a reason that nobody who's one of their current clients lost a penny in the stock market during the volatility we've experienced in the last couple of months. Now, we all know the market's going to go back up, but if you're in retirement already or very close, that can be nerve-wracking. And if you're tired of that, talk to the Retirement Advisory Group. They're going to tell you things that your Wall Street-based connected brokerage firm won't tell you, because they're only making money when you're invested in Wall Street. So talk to Thomas, talk to Bob and Tammy, and get some ideas from them. 314-993-9494. That's the easy-to-remember phone number. Call them up. Tell them you heard Marc Cox bragging about them, and you want to come in for an appointment. RetirementKey.com.
He's not from the government. but he is here to help. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Kim on a whim.
Well, did you hear the power move that the Trump administration took yesterday after Homeland Security's announcing that Harvard University is no longer able to enroll international students? But they took it one step beyond that. They said not only can you not enroll international students, any current international students need to transfer to other schools or they would lose their legal status.
Wow.
I'm actually surprised
Noam?
that they can. This was Noam. In fact, I want to play a clip. Noam was talking about this on Fox yesterday because this Harvard's not alone in the way they've been acting and just the rampant anti-Semitism. Columbia University, it's been awful just this week. That's been an ongoing issue. So listen to her talking about this whole situation.
We are absolutely. This should be a warning to every other university to get your act together. Get your act together because we are coming to make sure that these programs. That you are facilitating an environment where students can learn, where they're safe, and that they're not discriminated against based on their race or their religion. Anti-Semitism will not be stood for, and any participation with a country or an entity or a terrorist group that hates America and perpetuates this kind of violence, we will stop it, and we will not allow that to happen, especially in places where our kids need to grow up and really learn what this country is about, what the world is about, and what it means to promote freedom and liberty.
I'm not surprised that the Trump administration could and has threatened to pull federal funding because schools, including Harvard, are receiving quite a bit in federal funding. But I am a little surprised that they have the ability to tell a private university like Harvard that they can't enroll international students.
Well, I think it's a matter of
I guess legal
the fact that
status.
the federal government controls visas. And they can determine if someone applies for a student visa, they have to say what school they're going to.
So
it's probably just another way to apply pressure specifically to Harvard. So my guess is if you applied for a student visa and you're going to Yale or Columbia, it kind of puts you on notice that I could be next.
Why not do this at Columbia?
I think maybe they will. I think they're trying to make an example out of Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
Harvard has blank you money in their endowment. So far they've been able to stave off what Donald Trump, the point he's trying to make to them. I don't know how long effectively they can do that. And I think eventually they're going to have to accept the fact that you cannot tolerate anti-Semitism on your campus any more than you would tolerate racism on your campus. There's no difference. There's no light between those two.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm having to listen to an insane conversation on CNN last night where Abby Phillips, the host over there, if I didn't misunderstand her, so the argument they were trying to make is that, the one girl who was African American said, when I went to college at Michigan State, she said, that's the first time in my life anybody had ever used the N-word on me, and nobody went in and stripped them of their ability to have students. This country's been dealing with racism for a long time. We have very strict anti-discrimination laws. We see that all the time. Trying to connect that to this issue of anti-Semitism, where people are being gunned down just because of their religious beliefs, is a little bit of a stretch. It's a huge stretch. So I have to listen to Abby Phillips from CNN last night make this comparison. And you tell me what this sounds like to you. Here you go.
There are protests, and then there is anti-Semitism. And I do think it's fair to say that those two things do not have to be and should not be the same thing.
There are good people on both sides. Have you ever heard somebody say that before?
Mm-hmm.
Who said that?
Well, a lot of people. But
Donald Trump. After what happened in Charlottesville. And the left in this country raked him across the coals for saying that. That how dare you suggest that there was anybody there protesting that day, the tearing down of a Confederate related statue, that anybody on that side had any good in them at all. That was their argument at the time. And yet now they use the argument, well, not everybody who's protesting the war in Gaza is an anti-Semite. Well, their actions have directly led to things like we saw in Washington, D.C. yesterday. So I'm happy to see the federal government using some of its leverage to make these universities acknowledge that and recognize that they can't. Jewish kids should not have to cower or hide when they walk across their own campus where their parents are paying tuition.
Right.
And these universities absolutely have looked the other way.
Going back to the comment about all these people who are protesting in favor of Gaza, which essentially is Hamas, the terrorist group, that they're not all anti-Semites. The only thing that I could say that actually would make that statement true would be that we've seen these college students who are interviewed when they're taking part in these protests, and they say, hey, you know, why are you here? What brings you to this university? And they clearly don't know. They don't even realize why they're there. There's just this drive I've noticed among many of the younger students, so college age students in particular, where people feel like I have to be all about social justice, and they're just looking for some cause they can get behind because it makes them feel good, like they're making a difference in this world. Wow, I'm standing up for rights and social blah, blah, blah. I'm tired of that. So they're absolutely part of the problem, but I don't know if they themselves would be anti-Semites because they don't even know why they're there. They're just there because everybody else went there and told them, hey, you should join us.
And when questioned, most of them can't answer that question.
They can't answer a lot of questions.
Right.
Then they're holding signs up and they don't even know what the word means. It's plastered all over their sign. Now, as far as Harvard goes, it'll be interesting to see what kind of an impact this has, because with the Trump administration talking about pulling federal funding, withholding it from Harvard, because like you said, they have such a big endowment, I don't know if that's going to be enough. This probably will. According to university records, international students make up about 27% of the university's population.
Of Harvard.
Yes, of Harvard. That's massive.
So
that should be enough to make Harvard, do something at least.
So one of the 2 or 3 most high profile colleges in the United States, 30% of its student population is foreign. Why? Why do they feel the need to do?
Because
on a
they're
broader
willing
scale,
to
why do they
they're-
feel the need to do that?
They're willing to pay an exorbitant amount for tuition. They can afford it, and they're crazy
It's-
smart.
It's got to be driven by greed on the part of the university, just like you just said. If I hear that the University of Missouri, because I know this is true at schools like Alabama, because I just visited there with my daughter. If I hear that 40% of their population, their student population, is out of state, and I think it's that high or higher at Alabama, it makes me think, if I was a taxpayer of Alabama and this is a state-supported school, why in the hell are they giving 40% of the slots to people from out of state? Well, it's because they're paying $40,000 a year to go there, and in-state students pay $25,000.
Right.
So that's exactly why they're trying to do that. I don't know. I mean, first of all, that's ridiculous.
Will this be enough? And will this be expanded to other universities like Columbia?
It could be.
Because
Columbia has to look at that.
Oh, it's been bad at Columbia. Even this week, they had a graduation ceremony, and there's videos on social media I've seen where these students are burning their diplomas, and it's just ridiculous. And it really does make people feel like it's okay that they can justify the violence like we saw play out in Washington, D.C. Like, oh, well, they deserve it. That guy, the guy who's accused of gunning down these 2 people, these Israeli diplomats, he was a crazy liberal BLM. He had a little manifesto that talked about, basically being pro-Gaza and, I hate Israel type stuff. So this is the mindset of a lot of these people. And I think the more and more that these students are able to see these people protesting on college universities, the more normalized it becomes. And then again, they can somehow justify in their head, well, it makes sense that I would do this because they're the real problem. They're the ones who are hurting all these Palestinians.
Well, they are justifying the violence in many cases. And a lot of the ringleaders, and I think that's the point here, are foreign exchange students who happen to be here from Arab countries or Muslim countries or
China,
somewhere like that are leading a lot of these protests. And you've got a few, go along to get along, knuckleheaded American students who happen to be there who are rich and mom and dad are paying the bills and they got nothing better to do. So they go out and they protest these things. They have no idea what they're even protesting.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the right to go out and speak your mind in this country until it leads to violence. I just think that the point has got to be made. Everybody in this country watched the congressional hearings where these college professors refused to condemn anti-Semitic protests on their campuses.
Yep.
We're not making this up. Nobody in the White House is making up the fact that Harvard and Yale and Columbia and these other college professors, leaders, refuse to condemn or acknowledge that this is a problem.
Well, it's like Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who, when
Yes.
she was asked about her response to the awful tragedy out of Washington, D.C., she wouldn't even say, hey, it's so sad, prayers for the family. She basically just kept on walking and said, I have to go right now.
Because you're likely to hear her also say from the river to the sea.
100%.
That's exactly
To
why.
Rocky's point
Yes.
on Facebook, one of our listeners, he's saying it's the lack of action by those in charge. And that's basically what you said. It's the fact that a lot of these higher up people, these presidents of these universities, these professors, they won't condemn it, in part because they agree with it. And we've seen some of that with those professors. Remember where it came out? I think it was Harvard, where they were totally on board with these crazy anti-Semitic protests on campus.
Yeah, they absolutely were. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, a little bit of news about the mRNA vaccine, the COVID vaccine. Now, not all of them were in our mRNA vaccines, but certainly the Pfizer one was. And I heard more interesting information yesterday on some of the side effects that were either ignored or intentionally underreported in the system. We're going to get to that when we come back. Stay tuned.
The Marc Cox Morning Show
on 97.1 FM Talk. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning. We've got an accident reported at 67 at Meyer Road. So be careful through there. They've sent equipment and emergency vehicles down there to check that out. Right now, it's quiet. I do want to mention, though, on Olive today, 9 a.m. until noon, one lane will be closed in each direction at Woodson. Since it's Memorial Day weekend, they suspend road work. Now, of course, they could be out doing some potholes, but they won't be closing any new lanes. And that work pretty much gets suspended at noon. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, time to talk about my friends with the Home Shield Foundation Repairs, because they can kind of do it all. It's kind of a one-stop shop if you've got foundation problems in your basement, which of course can lead to water in your basement. Sometimes you have to dig up around the edges of the walls and put drain tiles in. Not always, but sometimes that's a solution. Don't try to figure it out on your own. And whatever you do, don't let one of these big nationally connected companies come in and with a salesperson and upsell you and do work that you really don't need done. Call my friend Matt Hayes over at Home Shield Foundation Repairs. He's a local guy. He runs this local company that specializes in foundations. Whether it's in your basement or your driveway, they can take care of these concrete slabs. They can seal up your basement, make sure it's waterproof. They give you a lifetime warranty when they're done. They can go out in your driveway, and if there's concrete that's unlevel, maybe the sidewalk leading up to your front porch, you've stubbed your toe a few times, they'll fix that immediately. You don't have to re-pour all that concrete. They can use a polyjacking process to fix it. Go to their website. They've got videos of all of their work. They stand behind it with a lifetime guarantee, and you're working with a local company, which I think is very important here. Check them out online. They've got a great video on there on their website. It's homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
Are you looking for an easy way to get a daily detox? Active Liver is the easy way to get a daily detox. To keep you healthy and feeling your best, you can find Active Liver in the vitamin aisle at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
The Cards, the D-backs. Siteman Cancer Center game time 7:15. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer. The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KLOX.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
Let's show our appreciation for local heroes. Marc Cox here. Nominate a first responder and their department could get lunch from Grill Master Tony's. I'll personally deliver it. Share their story at 971talk.com. Nominate them today.
Fully awake, never woke. The Marc Cox Morning Show. The Marc Cox Morning Show, on the air and streaming at 971talk.com.
If you're feeding a person a crap sandwich with a smile, it's still a crap sandwich.
Yes, indeed. And never has that statement been more true than I believe the information we were given in this country about vaccines, the mRNA vaccine specifically, and the side effects of it. It was, without a doubt, one of the greatest cover-ups that we've had in the history of the United States. And I don't, the mainstream media, just like in the reporting of the Joe Biden slide into dementia, they were just as willing a participant in that as they are in this. And that's discouraging, because if you don't have somebody out there fighting to find out the truth without being labeled as spreading disinformation and banned from YouTube because they mentioned ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine one too many times and got 3 strikes like me, where do you go to get any alternative point of view from these mainstream media reporters? You don't have an option, and then they'll accuse you of being some sort of a conspiracy theorist, which generally means you're probably just going to take a little longer to prove that you're right. So we suspected it. We knew about the myocarditis. We knew about some of the other side effects. But let me read you a headline from the University of Missouri Healthcare Department. In August 27th of 2021, August 27th, 2021, from the University of Missouri Healthcare Department. Scary reports of deaths following the COVID-19 vaccination aren't what they seem. That's interesting. Because this story was posted in 2022, still trying to defend the sharp increase in the VAERS. That's the Vaccine Adverse Events Reporting System. And remember the original complaint about the VAERS system, Kim?
Well, it's voluntary.
Thank you.
You're not
Thank you.
mandated if you are a doctor and you suspect adverse reactions.
You're not required to report to it. But slowly people started reporting to it, and more numbers came in on exactly what they were seeing as a result of this. And I've listened to this Joe Rogan podcast yesterday with Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers, the NFL quarterback, and they were talking about a variety of different issues. They at one point they were talking about the negative coverage of Elon Musk and the media coverage, and then they got into this issue about the VAERS deaths and how they have gone back and revised those numbers 4 years in hindsight. Listen to this conversation.
Sent Jamie this study, VAERS adjusted data, and other derived from the MIT Florida Department of Health study findings that yield a conservative range of 470,000 to 600,000 American deaths from the COVID-19 mRNA shots.
That's it?
Just that alone. That's a lot of people, man. More than World War I, World War II, and Vietnam combined. If that's true. It indicates Pfizer, this is Pfizer alone, so this is not even Moderna.
Oh, okay.
Pfizer alone likely killed over 470,000 Americans. They found a 36% increase in all-cause mortality among Pfizer recipients versus Moderna.
Yeah, but they saved millions.
Yeah, I keep hearing that.
Yeah.
Who was he interviewing?
Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, Aaron Rodgers was obviously being sarcastic.
He was
because
being sarcastic.
he's very opposed to this.
Right.
It's just wild to think about how much hate I got, how much hate I got at the time for not getting the shot, and people saying, "Well, she deserved to get fired from KMOV" and all this stuff. You know how glad I am that I didn't get that shot, especially as someone who knew that I was wanting to get married and grow my family. I mean, it's crazy.
Nobody who didn't get the shot is sad about it. If you're one of those with clean blood, you're very happy about that. There's no doubt about it. I will project here that it will grow to be one of the biggest cover-ups we've had in this country. And for what? How will they defend this going forward? Was it we had to give people the hope that we had a vaccine for this? Or is there going to be a little bit of truth in there and say we didn't know then what we know now? You can't go back in hindsight and claim, but there were people warning you about it then, and you blew them off, or you wanted to appoint a disinformation czar who would shut them down on social media or get them fired from their jobs if they dared to report on something like that. Remember when it came to ivermectin, despite dramatic evidence down in Jefferson County of how well it worked in a nursing home, none of the local media would cover that story.
It was horse paste.
Because they were pressured not to. All right, we're going to be back with more right after this.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, Max, you look sharp in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world as a guide dog?
You bet, Daisy. And your purple service dog vest really pops against your shiny fur.
First day on the job for both of us. We've got this, right?
You bet. Dogs Inc. trained us well.
Ready to make a difference for our humans?
Born ready.
Discover how extraordinary guide and service dogs change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
Who has the most 5-star reviews in St. Louis? Is J.D. Powers Award winner 5 years in a row and has the nation's best warranty coverage. Renewal by Andersen, that's who. Take advantage of our great May sale. $279 off every window and $729 off every entry door or patio door with 0 payments and 0 interest for 18 months. Check it out at rbastl.com or call 314-332-1924. Renewal by Andersen, a better way to a better window.
Get tickets today for Respect Your Elders. Make It Fashion, a bold and uplifting fashion show presented by Circle of Care St. Louis, when older adults and individuals with disabilities take the runway with confidence. This daytime event is Friday, May 30th, 3 to 7 at the JFK Community Center in Florissant. Your $25 ticket includes dinner, live jazz by Pete Williams, and the fashion show emceed by Tony Scott. Learn more and get tickets at circleofcare.org.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Another crackdown on Harvard. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Anti-Semitism will not be stood for.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem tells Fox the Trump administration will no longer allow Harvard University to participate in a student exchange visitor program, meaning Harvard can't enroll international students anymore.
Get your act together, because we are coming to make sure that these programs, that you are facilitating an environment where students can learn, where they're safe, and that they're not discriminated against based on their race or their religion.
Well, Harvard calls the order unlawful after already suing to undo the order blocking the university's federal funding. In Washington, D.C., Elias Rodriguez now charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. More charges could be added as Wednesday night's shooting that killed 2 Israeli embassy staffers is being investigated as a hate crime and terrorism.
Court papers reveal chilling details regarding the shooting. Authorities say surveillance video shows Rodriguez shooting the victims, 26-year-old Sarah Milgram and 30-year-old Yaron Lashinsky, both staffers for the Israeli embassy. As Milgram tried to crawl away, Rodriguez approached her and shot more rounds. He then went inside the Capital Jewish Museum, which had hosted an event for young Jewish diplomats, and told police he did it. He said, "I did it for Palestine. I did it for Gaza."
Fox's Madeline Rivera outside that museum where a makeshift memorial grows. It's been a week now since the New Orleans jailbreak, and 5 of the prisoners who escaped are still on the run. A third woman's been charged with helping the fugitives, giving one of the guys still on the loose money. Orleans Parish District Attorney Jason Williams warns they'll prosecute
any and every civilian, whether they be in a uniform or not in a uniform, that helped them get out of this building and help them once they were out of this building.
The jail worker also charged with helping facilitate the escape. There's a prisoner exchange between Ukraine and Russia going on. President Trump posted on Truth Social a short time ago. It's a major prisoner swap, adding this could lead to something big as the president keeps pushing for a ceasefire. America's listening to Fox News.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in experience and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis. CordellCordell.com.
Good morning. I'm Kim Zainanj for 97.1 FM Talk. 6:03 the time right now. If you're just leaving the house, a little bit chilly, 52 degrees, but a really nice day ahead. Dave Murray will have the details here in your forecast coming up. Making headlines locally, we're now learning the workshop city emergency management staffers attended Friday that led to those tornado sirens not going off related to climate change. The Post-Dispatch reports the workshop is designed to help people learn and develop skills to increase agility and collaboration in city functions so that employees can respond nimbly and effectively. The website for the workshop mentions nothing about emergency response. St. Louis police say after further investigation, there are no direct or credible death threats against the head of SEMA, Sarah Russell. Russell, as you might know, is currently on paid administrative leave. A spokesperson for the police department says they will continue to monitor and evaluate the situation. A police chase in St. Louis ended with a Festus man jumping off the Chain of Rocks Bridge into the Mississippi River. Chase started around 1:30 Thursday morning when officers tried pulling this man over who was driving a truck that had license plates linked to another car. Investigators say they found 56-year-old Jack Roper on the riverbank after jumping off the bridge. He was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. 6:04, 52 degrees at 97.1 FM Talk. In sports, the Cardinals start a 3-game series tonight against the Diamondbacks. First pitch at Busch Stadium is 7:15. They'll have day games tomorrow and Sunday. Battlehawks are back at the Dome tonight facing San Antonio. Kickoff for that game 7 o'clock. And then City playing Colorado on the road tomorrow night at 8:30. That, by the way, is part of the regular season. 52 degrees now coming up on 6:05. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Of Jeeps involved in an accident northbound 67 a little bit past Meyer Road. Watch for that blocking the right-hand lane. And other than that, it's been pretty quiet at this hour. Northbound 55 itself is in good shape from down south into downtown. And we look good out west into the city. And on the Illinois side, it's quiet at this hour. So really looking good on the interstates. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's a pretty Friday as we get set to kick off the long holiday weekend on this Friday. Sunny skies. It's a little chilly out the door this morning. 71 for the high. Tonight, more and more clouds take over. The evening is dry. Couple of spotty showers late night, 55. Saturday, a mix of clouds and sunshine. Couple of showers, but a lot of dry time. Saturday, 68. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
6:06 and 52 degrees right now. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show at 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere by downloading the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
The Marc Cox Morning Show.
Listen to both sides. The bottom line is, I respect that we don't agree.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Just to find a voice. Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
I don't know how to put this.
Marc Cox.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Well, it adds excitement, doesn't it, folks?
All right, good morning to you. Welcome in here to the Marc Cox Morning Show. Happy that you could be with us this morning. It is the 23rd day of May, and it's a gorgeous start. A little chilly out there. It was in the 40s as we were coming in this morning. I think it's now broken 50. But just expect a little chill when you head out the door. Decent weather today, but I think things are going to deteriorate on us over the course of the weekend. So whatever your plans are, I hope they weren't too involving the outdoors.
Pools.
Sunday, maybe the pools are going to be a little bit on the chilly side.
Or not open.
I remember going to the lake a few years ago when I had a boat, and I would get in the water on Memorial Day weekend, but that lake water is still going to be pretty chilly this weekend.
Yeah, we're going to New Hampshire here in a few weeks.
Oh, that's right, you are. Yeah,
and it's funny because obviously with it being the East Coast, it's not quite as warm as it would be here. And my sister looked at the feels like temperature the other day. This was like a week or two ago. And it said something like feels like 38 degrees. We're like, okay. We can't go much later, though, because I will be too pregnant.
That's right. If you're going to do any hiking or anything, you're going to have to go relatively soon, right?
Well, just flying.
Just flying comfortably or
that too.
Safe,
too.
For flying comfortably for the person next to you.
That would be my husband.
Well, I mean, there may be 3 seats.
Well, then my son.
Oh,
we had to pay for his ticket. This is the first time. Well, this is his first flight.
Oh,
wish me luck on that. But
good luck.
Now that he's over 2, we had to pay for the flight, which is a huge bummer. Take your kids somewhere before they turn 2, so you don't have to pay for the flight ticket.
I highly recommend Benadryl.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Suggestion.
Glad to help out. No problem at all. No. That's you dope them up, they sleep right through it. When their little ears hurt, they don't know it because they're asleep, and then they wake up and they're in a great mood when you get to your destination.
Nothing to see here, folks. Just drugging my kid.
I thought the Benadryl was
Turn your head away.
You're not drugging them. It's over-the-counter product. I mean, it's completely legal. What are you talking about?
Oh, it's definitely legal.
Thank you.
The Benadryl's for you.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, the Benadryl's for you.
Nice.
And then
Let
you
my
let Michael
husband
deal
deal,
with
yeah.
all the screaming while that's going on. Hey, we're working on a couple stories for you this morning. We're kind of keeping an eye on, not the least of which is this plane crash that happened out in San Diego. At least 6 people have perished in it. It was a private plane returning to San Diego from New Jersey. At least 6 people are dead right now, some injured on the ground, but I don't think there are any fatalities on the ground. If we get any updates on that, of course, we'll let you know about that. We'll keep an eye on that. And the fallout from the president's big, beautiful bill that passed the House, but may face more challenges than we expected in the United States Senate. Some pretty well-known conservatives are calling on the Senate to make pretty dramatic changes to that bill. Then the question is, can it get back through the House? So while House members are here, we are going to talk to Congressman Bob Onder as part of the Capitol beat today. We're going to get to that for you at about 7:35 this morning, and more follow-up to the shooting of those two Jewish Israeli embassy employees in Washington, D.C., and they're now calling it a capital murder case, according to Janine Pirro, who now is the acting U.S. attorney up there in Washington, D.C., replacing Ed Martin. So we got all that for you straight ahead. Right now, I want to get to this morning's top stories, please.
The Marc Cox Shortlist.
He is an outgrowth of the anti-Semitism on college campuses. And how are we not talking about that? That is the story. There is a culture of dehumanizing Jews that is rampant on the left. Nobody wants to talk about it. They're not going to listen to us. We need people on the left to say this is unacceptable.
Yeah, Batya Unger Sargon there last night on CNN, preaching to a group of folks who have all sorts of excuses, but rarely fully condemn the anti-Semitism that is rampant on college campuses around the country.
And I really got into it over the last year, and I figured the whole system out. And for various and sundry reasons, the United States of America was being screwed, and we were being taken advantage of and being laughed at for years and years. And I said, it's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah, President Trump there yesterday talking about his attempt to bring down prescription drug prices. I wonder how many millions of dollars the pharmaceutical industry has spent lobbying in Washington the last week and a half since that was announced.
Missouri's lawmakers from both parties have spoken out against cuts. Just last week, Senator Josh Hawley went on record saying he wants to protect Medicaid for working families. And earlier this year, he said he won't vote for anything that cuts Medicaid.
Yeah, how about that? That's some of the local news coverage there. I believe that might have been from Channel 4, talking about the fallout of Medicaid cuts in the big, beautiful bill. Because stupidly, Missouri expanded Medicaid coverage into the Missouri Constitution, about 5 years ago, and the chickens are coming home to roost.
Those crosses are representing their lives in the fact that they are now dead and their government did nothing about it.
Yeah, of course, Caroline Leavitt there in the White House yesterday, once again taking a liberal left-wing member of the media, in this case, Yamiche Alcindor, and just gutting her on national television. That's exactly what happened. I told you yesterday that NBC News, CNN, all of these, USA Today, all ran headlines suggesting that what the president did in facing off with that South African president this week was misleading. He's bringing up falsehoods. He's supporting white supremacy. All of this BS that we had to listen to from the media. Yamiche Alcindor yesterday accused the president of showing not undocumented is not the right word, unproven video of all those crosses in South Africa that represent murdered white farmers. And she had the audacity to challenge Caroline Leavitt and claim, what do you say when you put out unverified information like that? Caroline Leavitt was clearly loaded for bear at this news conference. If you missed this, listen.
Those crosses are representing their lives in the fact that they are now dead and their government did nothing about it. Are you disputing that there's no...
The fact that the video showed what the president claimed it showed, because it did not show that. But even more, what I'm asking you is who at the White House...
No, it did show that. It showed white crosses representing people who have perished because of racial persecution.
Verifies the videos that the president shows, and what protocols are in place when there's unsubstantiated information being put out for the world and world leaders?
Yamiche, what's unsubstantiated about the video? The video shows crosses that represent the dead bodies of people who were racially persecuted by their government. In fact, the Associated Press, of all places, has a picture of that very monument. And the caption from the Associated Press is, "Each cross marks a white farmer who has been killed in a farm murder." So it is substantiated, not just by that video and the physical evidence that everybody saw on display in the Oval Office, but also by another outlet in this room, the Associated Press. So you should take it up with them if you believe the claim is unsubstantiated. And that's a ridiculous line of questioning. John, go ahead. Go ahead, John.
Did you see that CNN's now reporting Trump? This is the headline. Trump's image of dead white farmers came from Congo, not South Africa.
Is that what they're claiming?
That is what they're claiming. Well, they're also saying
You
that
know-
the term genocide isn't fitting, and they gave this whole list of why it doesn't qualify as a genocide, but then this was the latest one about, no, it's not even the right area.
This is interesting. In 2018, so help me do the math here, that would have been at least seven years ago. Katie Hopkins, the British journalist, went to South Africa and did an entire documentary on the killings, the rapes, the murders, the tortures of white farmers in South Africa. It's called The Killing Fields. It's not hard to find. Google it. You can watch it on YouTube. This is not something that is being made up out of thin air.
We sit in separate studios via satellite links and talk past each other. Most will never have actually spoken to anyone connected to the news they're pretending to cover. South Africa deserves better than this lazy journalism from the mainstream. The stories I read were so unspeakably awful. Farming families tortured for hours before being killed by stabbing or gunshot, often with no ulterior motive, that I knew I needed to see this story up close. Why the torture? And given there had been a 200% increase in these attacks since 2012, why the sudden rise?
Yeah, she did an entire, I don't even know how long it is. Maybe it's over an hour documentary that you can find on YouTube. It's called The Killing Fields. Everybody knows this has gone on and continues to go on with a wink and a nod under the current president of South Africa. And only Donald Trump had the guts to stand up and question it. And what does our media do? Instead of calling it the new apartheid, which it is, they try to claim that it's false and that this isn't really happening. And that's what's false. The media in this country, the mainstream media, are a bunch of liars, is what they are, just so you know that. And good for Caroline Levitt for eviscerating another one of them yesterday. All right, quick break here. We're going to talk more about the anti-Semitic act, the murder of two innocent Israeli embassy workers in Washington yesterday, and maybe what happens next. We're going to get to that right after the break. Stay tuned.
Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We just had an accident reported eastbound 70 past Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Watch for that on the right-hand side. There is a little bit of volume out there in that area. Crews have been working on an accident involving two Jeeps northbound 67 at Meyer Road. Watch for that in the right lane. But other than that, it's a typical Friday, and since it's a holiday weekend, traffic is that much lighter, at least at this hour. This afternoon, everybody will leave town, but in the morning, it's not too bad. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888. Sell your home with certainty. Sell your home with Gloria Lou. Your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria Lou's name is her promise. Call 314-325-6888 and start packing.
All right, so last night I just opened up my new bottle of Old Monroe small batch bourbon, and wow, this is good stuff, and it's made right here within the sound of my voice over in just outside of Columbia, Illinois. You go across the river there, you can find their distillery, and in fact, they have just they've got a wedding venue over there now. They've just opened up a cocktail lounge and tasting room where you can go try this great bourbon out. Of course, they make lots of things besides bourbon. I'm a bourbon fan. Their small batch bourbon is blended from 10 or fewer select barrels. They've got a full flavored bourbon that gives it's great, neat. I had it over a couple ice cubes last night, and it was fantastic. You can find this Old Monroe small batch bourbon at Schnucks, at Deerberg's, at Total Wine and more. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend it. You can book a tour over there. The great thing about it is it's all done right there on an 8th generation family farm. They grow the grain right there. They distill it. They ferment it. They from grain to glass. That's what you get with Old Monroe Distilling. So be sure and go check them out. Buy a bottle today for this weekend. Brought to you by our friends at Lore Wine and Spirits. It's Old Monroe Small Batch Bourbon.
Cardinals fans, there are more ways this season to watch your Cardinals on FanDuel Sports Network. For the first time, you can subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network and stream the Cardinals without blackouts. Monthly, seasonal, and annual packages available. Also new this season, you can stream FanDuel Sports Network through Amazon Prime Video with an add-on subscription. As always, you can watch FanDuel Sports Network through TV providers including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. Visit Cardinals.com/TV to learn more.
Here's the hard truth. Every 6 years, your dollar loses half its buying power. That means a $100,000 savings account today could feel like $50,000 by 2031. And you see it every time you fill up your tank, buy groceries, or pay the bills. Prices are up. Your dollar is down. But there's a simple way to protect the value of your savings with something real, something proven. Gold, an asset that holds its value over time. That's why I trust Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to protect your savings with physical gold or silver. No high-pressure sales, no call centers, just honest guidance, one-on-one support, and transparent pricing. And right now, when you open a qualified account, Noble Gold will send you a free 10-ounce silver American flag bar as a thank you. Head to noblegoldinvestments.com today to learn more. That's noblegoldinvestments.com.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
It's been more than 60 years since St. Louis was hit by a tornado of the scale we're witnessing. The Salvation Army has been in St. Louis providing relief for over 160 years and responded immediately following the latest round of storms. How can you help? The Salvation Army needs monetary donations so that needs can be addressed immediately. And as we look to long-term recovery, 100% of donations go directly to storm survivors. Donate at salarmy.us/mid-disaster or call 1-800-SAL-ARMY.
A strong mind and a legislative body. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Follow the show on Facebook, facebook.com/The Marc Cox Show.
Let me just say that, the president and the attorney general have both indicated that, in cases where the death penalty is warranted and seems appropriate, we will use it. It's far too early to say whether that is the case, but this is a death penalty eligible case.
Yeah, Janine Pirro, of course, you recognize that voice because she was on Fox for the longest time, Judge Janine, and she's now the acting U.S. attorney there in Washington, D.C., talking about the fact that this is a death penalty eligible case in the murder in broad daylight of two Israeli embassy staffers. And we wanted to get some more reaction to this. We've invited Benjamin Smith to join us this morning, founder and CEO of Vandalay Publishing. Ben, welcome in. How are you?
Good morning. How are you this morning? I'm doing great.
Yeah, thank you for giving us a few minutes this morning. Here we go again. Despite years now of criticism, at least a couple of years of these loud protests since October 7th on campuses around the country, from the river to the sea, from all of these slogans that are chanted, we're seeing the real effects of this in violence, and yet it's still being defended in many cases on university campuses.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to realize that this is a failure on so many levels in the realm of academia. As someone who, 10 years ago was on the college campus witnessing these same kind of protests and also dealing with a scandal of our own at the University of Chapel Hill, where I went with a professor there who was misquoting and doing some things that were not great in terms of his book and what he was saying about the whole Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It really touches home because not only have I seen that on college campus, but living in Washington, D.C. as I do, and just watching the reaction from, people in the community here in D.C., people in the public policy space. And it's really interesting to watch how this has transformed from, a few radical people on campus to a widening, burgeoning movement that is here in America. It's no longer just in Europe. We're seeing it coming here, and we're seeing it, fester and grow. And it's inexcusable. And it's a failure of leadership from these faculty members and these presidents of universities to even handle the situation. It's gotten completely out of control.
And what message does it send when Congresswoman Ilhan Omar won't condemn that awful behavior of that deadly shooting? when she just says, "Oh, I need to go"?
Oh, I mean, are we surprised? I mean, her and the squad and all the members of the squad have been shouting and being there and being at protests. Omar's own family members, I think her daughter has been involved in some of these as well. So it just goes to show that, they don't really care. They give lip service to both sides we're here for them. And AOC herself just tweeted out last night and was called out all across, Twitter and social media because, she sat there and she was condemning the attacks, but, it took some research to figure out that she was talking about even a Jewish couple. She didn't even mention the word Jewish in her tweets. And then to have the audacity to shout Free Palestine and be on that side, and with the shooter himself also screaming Free Palestine according to affidavits, it's shocking to me that this hasn't, first of all, happened sooner because of the violent rhetoric we've seen from these students, but also just, again, the failure of leadership by members of the squad, members of the Democratic Party, to even tamper down with this and toy with it for votes, which is very disgusting.
Well, it's discouraging. I wonder how we're as a country going to be judged for this in a couple of years, looking back that under several years of the Biden administration, nothing was done. I mean, it was just look the other way almost was the attitude.
Well, I mean, it was look the other way with several issues. We can go on and talk about the pro-life organizations and the pro-family organizations being under attack, the pregnancy centers being under attack.
Right.
But that just goes to a wider point of if it's, it's kind of Machiavellian almost in the point of, ends justify the means. Well, it's our people, so we can't really say anything because the minute we do, we're not going to get the votes.
Well, it's sad. It's a sad state of affairs for sure. Benjamin Smith, founder, CEO there of Vandalay Publishing. We appreciate your time, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you. And my heart goes out to you guys. I have family out that way in St. Louis. And so I hope that you guys are recovering well from the tornado and, doing everything possible. And I myself will be looking into some ways to support you guys out there. Thank you so much for having me on.
Excellent. Thank you for your thoughts and prayers there. We appreciate that. In fact, we directing people to our website at 971talk.com with different resources for people. And our sister station down the hall there, KMOX, put on their own fundraiser yesterday and raised something like $100,000. People who have been very generous and donated to help out the people in need who lost, in many cases, everything in this tornado, while our emergency management people were at some woke conference on climate change down the street. It's an unbelievable story. We talked about it a bit earlier, and my guess is we'll talk about it again before the show is over today. Coming up, we're going to get to Nicole Murray, get you a check of business. Then we got in other news with a expose you won't believe at about 6:45.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSupercenterofStLouis.com. That's GeneratorSupercenterofStLouis.com.
So my friends from Pro Outdoor are going to stop by the studio a little bit later just to remind you that you have an opportunity right now to win $2,500 in a giveaway that they've got going on, and that can be applied toward residential lighting for your home. You can showcase your house. I've showcased mine with my friends at Pro Outdoor. It looks fantastic. It helps with the curb appeal. It helps with security. It helps with safety. It's just gorgeous what they can do. And if you've never seen an example of this, I'm going to put a picture up on my Facebook page here this morning so that you can see it. And then our friends from Pro Outdoor will explain how they go out and they light up these homes all over the place. And all you have to do is go to ProOutdoor.com, click on the residential lighting tab, and then enter your information there. You'll see the 97.1 logo, and you have a chance to win. No purchase is necessary. The drawing is going to be June 6th. So go to ProOutdoor.com.
Lifestyles Unlimited, the education and mentoring group with a roadmap and support to help you real estate retire.
Having the consulting team, having other avenues within your whole system is what's made y'all successful. Everyone is there to guide you to be successful. So it's just up to you to get off the butt and do it.
Do it. Take action today. Get educated now at Lifestyles Unlimited. Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join for $297, a 60% savings. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. 52 degrees now at 6:30. 6 people are facing charges accused of stealing copper wire from St. Louis neighborhoods hit by the tornado. Police say a lot of that wire was taken from downed power lines in the areas where a curfew is still in place because of the storm damage. All 6 of those suspects are being held behind bars without bond. Well, we're now learning the workshop city emergency management staffers attended Friday that led to the tornado sirens not going off related to climate change. Post-Dispatch reports the workshop is designed to help people learn and develop skills to increase agility and collaboration in city functions so that employees can respond nimbly and effectively. By the way, the website workshop, mentions nothing about emergency response. In sports, Cards start a 3-game series tonight against the Diamondbacks. First pitch at Busch Stadium coming up at 7:15. Battlehawks back at the Dome tonight, 7 o'clock, facing San Antonio. City plays Colorado on the road tomorrow night, 8:30, part of the regular season. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Thank you for letting me know about the accident on northbound 270. And this is really close to Doherty Ferry, just a little north of there. But it's an accident, and they've got the 2 left lanes blocked. But I'm seeing a MoDOT truck pull up on the right side. I'm not sure whether they're going to block the right lane as well or work their way over to the left. But right now, only the center lanes are getting by, and we have a pretty good jam going behind it. Looks to me like at least one of these vehicles hit the median. I've just posted this on X at Susan6768 if you want to see what I'm talking about. But we have a jam that goes back through 44 right now. That appears to be the worst of it this morning. There was an accident northbound 67 at Meyer Road, and we've got just some moderate volume in the sunshine this morning. Eastbound 70 between Lake St. Louis Boulevard and Highway K, and then things open up. Now, if you are on 55, we're looking okay through there. Just the beginnings of some volume at Bayless. Up now, I'm getting a report of an accident westbound on 6440 past Grand. So it's closer to Vandeventer, and that is causing a delay. If you are headed in from Illinois, we still look good on the bridges downtown. This report brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Your garage door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home. And when it needs help, just call the experts at Overhead Door. They'll do same-day service for you. 314-781-5200 or schedule online at overheaddoorstlewis.com. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, my friends at Air Comfort Service, of course, are concerned about people and taking care of their neighbors, and that's what they want you to do. And they want to make sure that people are helping their neighbors, and they're helping their neighbors as well. Right now, their hearts go out to everybody who, of course, has been affected by these storms. They can do a lot of damage. There are obvious problems like wind damage, power outages, falling trees, even hail. So if you need the Air Comfort Service, they're there for you. Hail can bend those coil fins on your air conditioners. That can restrict airflow, keeps the AC from running properly. If you have storm damage, you think you may have storm damage, give Air Comfort Service a call. Their expert technicians can get out there and assess that damage, give you all the information you need, and make sure you get your AC looked at immediately for an insurance claim to make sure that lingering issues don't follow you through the course of the summer. If you need more information on this, you're not sure what to look for, you can go to Air Comfort Service. Just call them at 314-513-0091. They'll give you advice right over the phone, 314-513-0091. Or you can go online. Visit aircomfortservice.com/storm. That's aircomfortservice.com/storm.
The Cards, the D-backs. Siteman Cancer Center game time 7:15. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer. The home of the Cardinals.
104.1 FM KMOX.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon, and whether you're looking for independent living, assisted living, or memory care, New Perspective gives you the freedom to live the life you love with just the right support. Beautiful apartments, amazing dining, plenty of activities. Check out npseniorliving.com today. New Perspective Senior Living, a friendlier approach to senior living.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need, while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
Cancer can feel like something we can't do anything about, but you can. There are screening tests that can catch cancer early when it may be easier to treat. Begin cervical screening at age 25. At 45, start colorectal and breast screening. At 50, discuss lung screening with a doctor. Find resources for free and low-cost screening at cancer.org/getscreened. This is a public service message from the American Cancer Society.
Your political sixth sense. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show. Find everything Marc Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
Deep down in Louisiana, close to New Orleans, way back up in the woods among the evergreens, there stood a log cabin made of earth and wood, where lived a country boy named Johnny B. Good, who never ever learned to read or write so well, but he could play a guitar just like a ringing a bell. Go, go!
Friday at all, or
No.
no? Okay.
Our full staff was working on Friday.
So were they in the office?
We were in the 1520 Market Street building for at the time of the storm. We were conducting a workshop with other partners, but we were working the storm in that capacity. Can you tell us when?
Yeah, that was former SEMA director Sarah Russell there. And you know, when she, even as those words came out of her mouth, we were down the street at a workshop, but we were still working in the same capacity. She knew that was a lie when the words came out of her mouth, and the cover-up was on, but she got exposed pretty quickly because they went back and found the 911 tape where she called in to try to get the dispatcher to hit the button, which didn't work at 911 to fire off the tornado siren.
Well, she really didn't even say, "Will you activate the siren?" It wasn't that clear. It was something along the lines of, "You've got the sirens, right?"
Yeah.
I mean, I know it sounds like I'm nitpicking, but in a situation where you have an active tornado warning, you can't hold back any words. You have to be extremely specific.
You have to be specific.
Will you activate the tornado siren right now? Which we now know it sounds like that wouldn't have even been possible because they discovered days later the button didn't work.
Yeah. So where they were, what the new news here, as we've discovered, is that they were at a workshop with the Air Collaborative, a Washington-based NGO, probably got money from USAID for all I know. And the invitation to the workshop was detailed on the company's website. It's about climate change and creativity and art and community and money and hands-on collaboration, which wasn't hands-on enough to hit the tornado sirens on Friday a week ago. What a shame. That story still developing, and I'm sure there'll be more to come on all of that for you. So stay tuned here. Right now, let's get to our friend Nicole Murray. Happy Friday, Nicole.
Holiday weekend, baby.
Yeah, exactly. You have Monday off?
I have Monday and I took Tuesday off.
Oh, sweet.
So nice little, and can you believe it? I have another wedding this weekend. So
no kidding.
I do. So I'll be whipping it up. I'm staying within Jersey. It's about like an hour and a half away. So it's nothing too bad, but Mama's going to let her hair down a little bit.
Isn't it funny how we all have a little pep in our step? Even if it's a day or two off, you just feel like you're just floating. You're so excited.
Well, yeah, the extra few days off. And I feel the need to point this out. It's not the kicker for you guys. New York is talking about a 4-day work week. Imagine how happy we would be if this was all the time.
Oh, you just got to get them to talk about that in New Jersey.
Yeah, we
It's
did.
not do you any good in New York.
I mean, it's creeping in closer. It's coming closer. It's coming.
4-day work week.
I'm telling you.
You keep harping on that.
Nicole, you'll be 85 years old by the time you're going to be the lady in the Titanic. It's been 85 years by the time they actually implement that.
It's coming. I swear. You heard it here first.
Okay. What's going on in business?
All right. So futures are slightly lower. Thursday, the Dow Industrials lost 1. The NASDAQ closed flat and the S&P 500 down 2. President Trump is urging the Senate to pass his big, beautiful tax bill as soon as possible following narrow passage by the House early yesterday. Jed Ellerbrook, portfolio manager at Argent Capital Management, said if the bill becomes law, it reduces taxes for lots of people, increases spending, and especially on defense. Simply put, it will boost the economy in the short term. L3 Harris Technologies will pay $62 million to settle allegations that it lied about prices of equipment it sold to the U.S. military. The firm has been tapped to help turn a luxury 747 jet gifted to the U.S. from Qatar into President Trump's new Air Force One. The average rate on a 30-year mortgage in the U.S. climbed this week to its highest level since mid-February, a setback for home shoppers that threatens to slow sales further this spring home buying season. Mortgage buyer Freddie Mac says the rate increased to 6.86% from 6.81%. AAA says a record 45.1 million people are expected to travel between Thursday, May 22nd and Monday, May 26th. This would break the 2005 holiday weekend record of 44 million travelers. And good news for the nearly 40 million Americans expected to hit the road driving this Memorial Day weekend. Gas prices are likely to be at their lowest level since 2021. Gas Buddy data says gas prices are likely to sit at $3.08 per gallon for a regular gallon of gas. And finally, a big debate erupting online. Should mocktails cost as much as cocktails? While some say the absence of alcohol should cost at least 25% less, others say the cost of the multiple ingredients could add up.
Oh, come on.
Okay.
It's the same ingredients minus the alcohol.
Whoa. So you're saying it should be the same price?
No, I'm saying there's no way it should be the same price.
Right. Okay. Well, I wanted to make sure.
There's no alcohol in it,
Right.
but all the other ingredients are the same, but the alcohol is the most expensive ingredient that you pour into any drink.
Well, there are a lot of mocktails that are multiple types of juices that have mint, that have, different spices even. That's definitely, I can see if it was like a mojito or something like that the mojito should definitely be more expensive, but like a vodka club versus one of these mocktails that has multiple ingredients, like it's debatable.
Oh, well, I guess.
Well, when you're, okay, so if you're comparing it like that, I see your point. But if you're just saying like, okay, it's the same drink, but one is a mocktail and one is not, that is where I would say, okay, the one without alcohol should definitely be cheaper.
Yeah, in general, I think the mocktails should be cheaper no matter how many ingredients, just because alcohol is the biggest margined priced item. And
yeah,
let's be real, a lot of us are getting a cocktail for the alcohol that's in the cocktail.
And let's face it, when it's at a bar, they can charge whatever they want anyway, because you're a captive audience for the most part. I went to DC a couple years ago, and I went to the Hay Adams Hotel, which is next door to the White House. It's right across the street. And on the top floor, or near the top floor, they have a rooftop bar. And it's really cool. And you can go up there and you can look out all over DC and see the Washington Monument. You can see the White House and all this stuff from the roof.
Yes, your drink was like $25.
I had my producer then at the time, Liz, with me, and I'm like, hey, I'll go to the bar and get us a drink. What do you want? She wanted something with vodka in it. I can't remember what vodka, cranberry, something. I probably got a old fashioned. It was like $45 for those two drinks. So depending on where you are, they don't. I mean, you're paying for the experience as much as anything. They're overcharging. I mean, if I had to look at what the bourbon I drink costs by the gallon, I would probably spit it back out because it's really expensive.
No, you wouldn't.
I wouldn't. You're right. I'd drink
like
it
that.
anyway. You're right.
I knew it.
Have fun at the wedding this weekend. That'll be great. We'll see you on Wednesday, I guess. Huh?
Yes. Thank you very much.
All right, Nicole. Have a good weekend. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I did. I looked at the guy and I'm like, how much do I owe you for these 2 drinks? And it was with tax, which is, of course, ridiculous in DC. It was over $40.
Really?
It was
Well,
crazy.
actually, I guess I'm not that surprised because I said $20, $25 per drink. So yeah, the $40 for 2 drinks or $45, whatever you said. Richie on Facebook is saying I pay considerably more for my non-alcoholic drinks. What kind of non-alcohol? Because they do have some really good NA beer. And they have everything NA now. They have it wine and champagne. The only problem is that some of these that claim that they're non-alcoholic actually have little bits of alcohol in them. So you have to be careful, depending on the reason why you're not drinking. Obviously, some people just are choosing not to. Obviously, me being pregnant, that really matters.
Richie, it's probably because of that big expensive stogie you smoke along with those non-alcoholic drinks. That's I've seen him post his pictures on social media.
Oh, doing some creeping?
Of course not. We're friends.
Oh, okay.
No, not at all. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Come back. We'll have other news for you. There is something that is shocking that's happening in a state just to the north of us. We will expose it when we come back.
Nice choice of words, Mark.
Thank you.
The Marc Cox Morning Show
On 97.1 FM Talk. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Accident on northbound 270, really close to Doherty Ferry, just a little bit past there. And it's blocking the 2 left lanes, but the right lane is also blocked. And we've got a jam behind this thing that goes back past 44. So not a lot of fun right now on northbound 270. We've also got an accident on westbound 6440 at Vandeventer this morning. That's created a delay. Now, that's the worst of it. Other than that, we're in pretty good shape. There's some moderate volume in the bright sunshine on eastbound 70 between Highway A and K, and then things open up, and 6440 seems to be fine. If you are headed in from Illinois, we look fine on the bridges downtown. We've got light traffic out there at this hour. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
If you need real estate advice, call an expert. You're going to go to the doctor if you're not feeling good. You go to an expert. If you're going to buy or sell your home, you need that same great advice. And the person I'm going to recommend is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Just got to spend some time with Gloria the other day. She's a fantastic person to begin with. You're going to enjoy just talking to her. But 314-325-6888 is the only number you need. If you maybe you don't think you're going to list, but you'd really love to know what your house is worth, they will come to your house. They'll give you a free market analysis of it, make suggestions on what you would have to do to get it ready to go to market. I mean, that's always fascinating to me, how they stage and declutter and give you ideas. I think it's fantastic. Now, on top of all of that, Gloria has a list of people looking to buy, and that is what helps her make this promise to you. She will sell your home for 100% of current market value, or she will pay you the difference. I don't know other agents that are doing that. She's also got people willing to come in. Let's say you're forced to make a move because of your job. She'll have people who will bid for cash on your home, with at least one of them being 100% of market value as well. So call her and ask her about these programs. 314-325-6888, or go online anytime. Tell her Marc Cox sent you. GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Now, your Live Nation lineup.
Sasanta, Primus, Lucifer, and A Perfect Circle. Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, May 29th. Simple Minds, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, June 5th. Outlaw Music Festival, Willie Nelson and Friends, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, June 28th. Live and Collective Soul, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, July 17th. And El Monstero, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, August 2nd.
For tickets and info, hit up livenation.com.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Progressive can help you protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, RV, and more. And if something wasn't mentioned that you had in mind, find out if it could be covered at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, because it probably can be.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
The Annie Fry Show.
Well, Tyrus, welcome back to the show.
Hey, when you got a spelling test that said 100% with a scratch and sniff on there, that was like major recess collateral. Like you could negotiate lunch snacks, then the cafeteria worker would give you extra pudding.
Weekdays from noon to 3. Deeper than the headlines. The Marc Cox Morning Show.
What's happening?
Go, you know the thing.
What the hell is going on?
In other news.
All right, a shocking story out of Minnesota, right? This happened in 2021. It just now made it all the way to the Minnesota Supreme Court. Police got a phone call, Rochester police, that a woman was walking around a gas station parking lot with her breasts exposed. They responded. They saw her. They arrested her and charged her with like public nudity for being nude. And she kept exposing herself, even though she said she was a stripper and why can't I strip in the middle of the public was her argument. Well, of course, the cops charged her. She challenged it all the way to the Minnesota Supreme Court, which ruled last week that women's bare breasts in public do not qualify as lewd. So the Minnesota Supreme Court has now made it okay for women to be topless anywhere they want in the state of Minnesota. Now, it's cold up there most of the time, so don't plan a trip there unless you go in the summer.
That's ridiculous.
You said unless you go in the summer?
Yeah, you're going to want to go in the summer if you're going up for tourist reasons. They may have a whole new industry up there. It's a cottage industry in Minnesota.
It's going to become a whole nudist state. What are they going to say next? That you can just be naked altogether?
I guess.
I can understand maybe. There are women who are upset if they're trying to nurse in public and they might expose something. I still actually find that a little odd. And I know I'm probably not, a lot of women might be mad at me saying for that. But anyway, that's very different than just walking around topless because you think that you should be able to.
So I think you can feel however you feel if you're a woman about your breasts. If you feel like you need to expose them, you can feel like you need to expose them.
Doesn't mean you should be able to.
Doesn't mean you should be able to, because whether you like it or not, it is something that attracts men. There's a sexual attachment to that,
right?
To them, so to speak, right? And I don't know how you get around that. I don't know how the Minnesota Supreme Court got around that.
I'm sure the women will say, "Don't look at me! How dare you look at me and make those comments?" Well, you're walking around topless, so what do you expect?
You can't deny that. I love the comments in the story at the bottom. One guy says, in completely unrelated news, by June of 2025, breast watching is expected to overtake bird watching, car racing, and complaining about the government combined.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
That's crazy. Yeah. Another crazy story. This would probably be in the category of worst nightmares for me, but there was this Missouri mom driving in Eugene, Missouri, which is not too far from Jefferson City. And all of a sudden, a snake pops out of her car hood. So it sounds like it was on the outside of her car, but I can imagine that when this happened and you're driving, you're not really sure which way it is, like if it's on the inside or the outside. She ended up not crashing, thankfully, and she's a teacher. She drove to the school and they were able to get the snake out without hurting it. But gosh, wouldn't that hurt the snake? I mean, I know that they like those warm spots, but
it was a coach whip. It wasn't venomous, but to me,
Doesn't matter.
I don't take enough time to figure out if it's venomous or not.
No.
If I see one, I'm probably killing it if I can get to it. I'm sorry.
So what, did you turn the wipers on?
Well, if it was outside of the car, I wouldn't be that freaked out about it. I'd be fascinated. If it was inside of the car, I'd be the one wrecking because, like Indiana Jones, I hate snakes.
What's what size are those snakes? Are they like big?
The Eastern coach whip?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. It's big enough.
Yeah. I mean,
it's evil.
I hate snakes.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
It's
all right,
not evil.
They're evil. Snakes are evil. They're Satan. Listen. I don't know if this is going to affect the Olympics, but somebody has come up with the enhanced games that debut next year in 2026. The enhanced games will feature Olympic-style sports, including swimming and other sports like that, but they will encourage the athletes to use performance-enhancing drugs like steroids, testosterone, and growth hormone. The athletes will have to reveal what drug they're using, and the games will include 8 different events: swimming, track, hurdles, and weightlifting. And they're trying to develop a form of superhumanity, according to the people that funded it. Participating would likely mean those players being banned from international competitions, including the Olympics, but there's going to be a $500,000 jackpot as the prize. So they think some people may give up their eligible status just to participate in this at the chance of winning the money.
Sounds entertaining.
I don't know.
I would be curious
they'll
compare,
televise it. Yeah.
Like compare the record without these drugs versus with, and see how big of a difference it makes.
Crazy.
Real quickly, did you guys know? Well, they're always saying this every year. Record number of Americans gearing up to travel this holiday weekend. Why do they say that every single year? Seriously, AAA is saying more than 45 million people will travel at least 50 miles from home between, well, I guess yesterday through Monday, which of course is Memorial Day.
It can't just be based on airline tickets. What if you're driving? How would AAA know you're going to drive to grandma's house?
Oh, they didn't call you up and ask you?
They didn't ask me. They asked you, Ethan?
Oh, yeah, they asked all of us. Mark, they must not like you.
How do they know? That's a great question. It really is. Coming up, we're going to talk to Dr. Bob Onder, our congressman from the 3rd Congressional District on the big, beautiful bill. Stay tuned.
I met my wife in law school at the University of Florida. She was from upstate New York and I was from Kentucky. We met at a daily mass at St. Augustine's. She was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen in my life. After communion, I followed her out of the church and got her phone number. The rest is history. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Little did we know that one day we would have 4 children and the largest injury firm in the world. All 4 work in the business. It's a family business. Did I ever see this coming? Hell no. We just worked very hard and treated our clients like we would want to be treated, like family. It's a full-service injury firm: auto accidents, medical malpractice, workers' compensation, Social Security, and insurance disputes. We're open 24/7, 365 days a year. Visit forthepeople.com and we can get to work on your case. No recovery, no fee. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This is Todd Nissenholtz of Kaufman Townsend. When I tell people who get in a crash, call a lawyer, but I often hear, I'm not the suing type. Listen, there are all types of people. Personally, I'm not the getting screwed type. If you're not the getting screwed type, call my firm, and we'll make sure that doesn't happen to you. Call Kaufman Townsley. Real people, real results. 314-500-5000. That's 314-500-5000.
We all have different ideas of the perfect retirement, but they all depend on the same thing: not running out of money. And preparing for retirement can sometimes be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Find out how you could build your retirement on your terms. Join host Steve All for the All Financial Hour Saturday mornings at 6 here on 97.1 FM Talk.
You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
A vigil in Washington. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, where a makeshift memorial grows for Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lashinsky, the couple who worked at the Israeli embassy, shot dead Wednesday night.
She got this dream job at the Israeli embassy, working in the civil society department, really trying to build a better world with love.
National Council of Jewish Women CEO Sheila Katz. The accused gunman who chanted "Free Palestine" when arrested is charged with murder. More charges could be coming.
We're going to continue to investigate this as a hate crime and a crime of terrorism.
Acting U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro. A crackdown on Harvard University intensifies. The Trump administration is blocking Harvard now from enrolling international students. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem tells Fox.
They have promoted and allowed violent activity on campus. They have allowed anti-Semitism, participation with CCP and Chinese infiltration.
Harvard calls the new order unlawful after suing the administration to lift an earlier block on federal grants to the university. Exactly 1 week after a jailbreak in Louisiana,
5 dangerous fugitives remain on the run.
Fox's Nate Foy in New Orleans also reports a 4th person's been arrested.
Connie Whedon, she's accused of contacting fugitive Jermaine Donald, who's accused of murder, before and after the escape. Authorities say that she also sent him cash on a phone app. She's now the 3rd woman arrested after the escape. A source tells Fox the other 2 are girlfriends of 2 of the fugitives.
A jail worker is also charged with helping the 10 inmates break out last week. 5 have been captured. President Trump's busy posting on Truth Social this morning, first announcing a new prisoner swap between Russia and Ukraine as he pushes for a ceasefire to stop their war. And then came tariff threats. The president wrote he recommends a 50% tariff on European Union imports starting June 1st, which sent stock market futures tumbling. And then the president also took aim at Apple, writing he expects iPhones sold in the U.S. to be manufactured here. And if not, Apple must pay a tariff of at least 25%. America's listening to Fox News.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in experience and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis. CordellCordell.com.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. Made it to Friday, and it's a really, really pretty start. Sunny, 70. I wish it were 70 degrees. No, it's 52 degrees now. It's 7:03. We're now learning the workshop city emergency management staffers attended Friday that led to the tornado sirens not going off related to climate change. The Post-Dispatch reports the workshop is designed to help people learn and develop skills to increase agility and collaboration in city functions so that employees can respond nimbly and effectively. The website for that workshop mentions nothing about emergency response. St. Louis police say after further investigation, there are no direct or credible death threats against the head of SEMA, Sarah Russell. Russell is currently on paid administrative leave. A spokesperson for the police department says they will continue, though, to monitor and evaluate the situation. A police chase in St. Louis ended with a Festus man jumping off the Chain of Rocks Bridge right into the Mississippi River. The chase started around 1:30 Thursday morning when officers tried pulling this man over, who was driving a truck that had plates linked to another car. Investigators say they found 56-year-old Jack Roper on the riverbank after jumping off the bridge. He was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. It's 7:04 and 52 degrees at 97.1 FM Talk. In sports, Cardinals start a 3-game series tonight against the Diamondbacks. First pitch at Busch Stadium is 7:15. They have day games both tomorrow and Sunday. Battlehawks back at the Dome tonight facing San Antonio. Kickoff is 7 o'clock. And City will be playing Colorado on the road tomorrow night at 8:30 as part of its regular season. 52 degrees now coming up on 7:05. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Of issues on the roads. I'll start with the good news, and that is they have cleared the accident westbound 6440, really close to Vandeventer, and that had been blocking a lane or two and really causing a delay this morning. Well, the big accident at this hour is on northbound 270 past Doherty Ferry. The left lanes and the right lane are blocked, and we have just a parking lot jam behind it that goes back past 44. Now, Lindbergh looks fine. 141 looks fine if you want to try those as alternates, or just wait and get your way through there. I mean, there are lanes open. It's just a huge delay. 64 looks great from out west into downtown. 70 does have some moderate volume, especially around Lake St. Louis Boulevard, and then it opens up. And we are quiet on the Illinois side at this hour. Looking good if you happen to be headed in from Illinois, and that's on any of the bridges downtown. This report brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, Lakeside Renovation and Design has been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes both inside and out. Kitchens, windows, bathrooms, outdoor spaces, they deliver quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. Visit lakesiderd.com to start your dream project today. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's a pretty Friday as we get set to kick off the long holiday weekend on this Friday. Sunny skies. It's a little chilly out the door this morning. 71 for the high. Tonight, more and more clouds take over. The evening is dry. Couple of spotty showers late night, 55. Saturday, a mix of clouds and sunshine. A couple of showers, but a lot of dry time. Saturday, 68. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
7:07 now, 52 degrees. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere by downloading the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
The Marc Cox Morning Show.
I want to compliment your show on how fair and level-headed everything you guys talk about.
Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
Maybe what we need from a conservative standpoint is
the Marc Cox Morning Show.
I respect that. We don't agree.
Listen to both sides.
This,
let's get it on,
is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
All right. Good Friday morning to you. Glad you're with us this morning. It's the 23rd day of the month, a few minutes after 7 in the morning, and we've got lots to get to still this morning. We're going to talk to Jonah Platt, who is the host of Being Jewish with Jonah Platt, because we wanted to talk to somebody about this wave of anti-Semitism that we've seen across the country and how it's being handled on these university campuses, obviously highlighted in the wake of the murder of these two embassy officials in Washington, D.C., a couple actually ready to be engaged within the week or two, it looks like, from what we're hearing, and just kind of making that even all the more tragic. And we'll talk to Jonah coming up in the next hour. Before this hour's up, we're going to get to the Capitol beat with Congressman Bob Onder, because he has been up there working on the big, beautiful bill. And I know that he's a member of the Freedom Caucus, and I'm anxious to hear from him how he felt about that bill, if there were things he would like to have seen done differently, if he thinks it's going to survive the Senate. We'll get to all that for you here at about 7:35 this morning. And Kim, I don't know about you, but how do you feel about emissions testing? Do you even think about it?
having to an emissions
Yeah,
test
on your
in
car,
my
like
car?
when you
Oh,
have
I
to get your
despise that.
when you have to get it done before you have to go to the DMV to renew your plates. There's one local county where there's a discussion now of trying to get rid of that emissions testing because of the burden of it on not only consumers, taxpayers, but on the shops that are forced to, in many cases, conduct these things at a loss because the price is set by the state. So we're going to talk more about that with Jason Law, the former mayor of Lake St. Louis, who's also running for St. Charles County Executive. I've got him coming up here at about 7:20 this morning. So we'll get to all that and more for you. Right now, though, I want to get to this morning's short list, please.
The Marc Cox Short List.
Of the anti-Semitism on college campuses. And how are we not talking about that? That is the story. There is a culture of dehumanizing Jews that is rampant on the left. Nobody wants to talk about it. They're not going to listen to us. We need people on the left to say this is unacceptable.
Yeah, Batya Ungar-Sargon there. You've heard her on CNN quite often lately, and she is speaking out and saying, listen, us complaining about it on the right is not enough. They've got to hear this from some of these left-wing progressive leaders that enough is enough.
We've had a very, very big week. You saw that. We got back from the Middle East, and we brought $5.1 trillion back with us. We had tremendous. Our country, let me tell you, our country is hot.
Yeah, there's the president bragging about his Middle East trip and yesterday. And in the meantime, all the media wants to ask about is the airplane.
It's despicable. And we've seen the Democrat Party turn a blind eye and in some cases actually embrace such anti-Semitic illegal behavior.
That's the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, after Ilhan Omar declined to say anything when asked her reaction to the murder of 2 Israelis in Washington, D.C.
Missouri's lawmakers from both parties have spoken out against cuts. Just last week, Senator Josh Hawley went on record saying he wants to protect Medicaid for working families. And earlier this year, he said he won't vote for anything that cuts Medicaid.
Yep, there you have it. This is a debate. I wish I'd had a chance to ask Senator Hawley about this yesterday morning. It just wasn't on my radar. I didn't realize that he had made comments opposing some of these cuts to Medicaid, because I would like to have drilled down on that a little bit. We're going to talk to Congressman Bob Onder about that here at the bottom of the hour, because he, of course, was up there when this debate was going on. Now, the concern in Missouri, and as expressed in that KMOV story, is a problem of our own making, Kim, because this is now in the Missouri Constitution. Remember back in 2020, one of those feel-good initiative petitions? By golly, we're going to force the state of Missouri to expand Medicaid and to give state-run health care, free health care to more and more Missourians. So basically, to do that, you just lower the threshold for income, right? You just keep lowering it till just about everybody's available to get Medicaid. We have over 1 million people in the state of Missouri, in a population of 6 million, well over 1 million who are currently receiving Medicaid, which is designed for the poorest of the poor. And now there are people getting it who aren't the poorest of the poor, who might be physically able to go out and work for a living, but why should they when they can lay home and get their health care for free?
I know people who have benefited from Medicaid, but they were hardworking people, had jobs. It wasn't just this whole, oh, yeah, I deserve this money from the government, these handouts, and I'm going to use it and not feel like I need to, even get a job myself.
This is always the false argument that's given by the left to justify spending the money in the first place or making the cuts in the second place. We've always, for many, many, many years, had a safety net in this country for people who are down on their luck, either welfare or, poor because of other conditions beyond their ability to control. They've got a disability of some sort. They're unable to work and make a living, be that mental or physical disability. We've always done that. But what they've tried to do over the years, they did it with Obamacare, was expand I say expand the number of people eligible for it by lowering the threshold to get it, because that was the goal. It's impossible to cut a program when you've got more and more people who are eligible for it, and then you're suddenly accused of taking health care away from poor children. Well, really, they probably shouldn't have had it in the first place, and that's your fault. So by putting this on the ballot and allowing people to come in and lie and run their deceitful ad campaigns with millions of dollars from out of state, this is what we've ended up with. One more constitutional amendment putting Missouri taxpayers on the hook to pay for this ridiculous program. Parts of it are ridiculous. When the federal gravy train goes away, we who were opposed to this idea warned about this at the time, and I was one of them that said, if you do this and the federal government ever decides to either block grant or cut the amount of money going into Medicaid, or heaven forbid, we get in a really bad economy and tax revenues are way down, or whatever the case may be, Missouri's going to have to make up the difference. If the federal money's not there, they were paying like 80% of the bill. The federal money's not there. It's got to come out of the taxpayers' pockets in Missouri. The only answer to this is going to be a tax increase in Missouri. And that's not going to be Donald Trump's fault or the members of Congress who are trying to cut waste out of Medicaid. It's going to be the fault of the idiots here who bought into this whole idea of Medicaid expansion and gave more people free health care. That's where the fault is going to lie when all this happens. I was into it on social media with some people on this yesterday. I'm like, look,
someone like you, Mark.
You can bellyache all you want, but this is your fault. You voted for this.
Mm-hmm.
The chickens have come home to roost.
Or it's the people who decided not to vote and then they still complain.
Well,
that really angers me.
That is a true fact. All right, we're going to get to a quick break here. I mentioned earlier we got Jason Law coming up. He is running for county executive out in St. Charles County, and he is pushing a plan to end emissions testing out there, and he wants to draw some attention to some of the problems about this. We'll get him on the air coming up. Stay tuned.
Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, the big issue on the roads this morning is this accident on northbound 270, a little bit past Doherty Ferry. And the left lanes and the one right lane remain blocked. And it's really caused a jam behind it. In fact, there's some volume that starts around Gravois, heaviest approaching 44 on up to this accident. Now, that's the worst of it. 44 eastbound is in great shape. We've just got moderate volume northbound 55 near Bayless. Eastbound 70 and 6440 look good. And no delays on the Illinois side if you're headed in on any of the bridges downtown. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk. Oh, you know what? I was thinking about this today because it's payday, and I think, okay, I'm sending X amount into my 401k to save that. Do I have enough money saved for retirement? Do any of us really know this? And that's why I love the idea of this class. It's a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101, and it's put on by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects. And this is what they do. They have decades of financial planning experience, but they hold these classes so people can go in and kind of get a handle on what you're facing in retirement. How do you maximize Social Security? How do you reduce your taxes? What if something comes up and you need to pay for it in retirement? This is the sort of thing they talk about. Now, they hold these classes for free, but they want you to bring 3 canned goods, which of course you would for St. Louis Crisis Nursery. There are some openings for this month and next, but you do need to register. So call 314-947-2012 and at least get educated and kind of a handle on what you're facing. 314-947-2012.
The Cards, the D-backs,
Siteman Cancer Center game time 7:15.
Play ball!
Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Next outage? Are you overdue for annual maintenance? Schedule an inspection today with Generator Supercenter and ensure your Generac generator is ready when you need it most. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com.
Upgrade your family vacation with an unforgettable escape to the Palm Beaches. From outdoor adventures and laid-back beaches to thrilling family attractions and animal encounters, the Palm Beaches have something for everyone. Discover premier resorts with creative kids clubs that will keep the little ones entertained while you enjoy world-class golf and spas. We are the original, the one, the only, the Palm Beaches. Plan your trip at thepalmbeaches.com.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But DC politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-million. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
It's not too late for a deep spring cleaning on your home. Give my friends at Zerorez a call today. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129 and take $75 off your air duct cleaning package. Visit ZerorezSL.com and tell me what the Mark Reardon special, or call 314-474-2020.
Solutions with conviction. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show. Follow the show on Facebook. Facebook.com/The Marc Cox Show.
All right, we've complained many times over the years, at least I have, over having to go get your car inspected before you can go get your plates renewed. It's just so irritating because very few cars ever fail these emissions tests, but you have to go pay the fee anyway. The people providing the service usually lose money on the deal, probably because it's a state mandated fee. How can we stop that? I don't know. Jason Law's got some ideas. He's former mayor out in Lake St. Louis. He's running for St. Charles County Executive. Jason, how are you?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Good to talk to you again. I saw your press release on this and the fact that you're going to try to get a petition drive started to maybe at least exclude St. Charles County from this silliness if we can't get it statewide.
You know, I think the drive will be to get it done statewide. I mean, it cost our taxpayers an extra $115 million each and every year. And Congressman now Bob Onder actually had legislation passed, but it was vetoed by Mr. Parsons because the Biden EPA was going to hold back funding for roads. So, less than 2% of these vehicles actually fail. And technology's advanced, and there's no need for it anymore.
Well, it's
and
true.
It's something that we can work hard to get done.
Every car that's on the road today, even the ones that are 15 or 20 years old. I mean, my truck is 10 years old now. It's a diesel, and it's so emissions efficient that it basically puts steam out the back end of the truck, right? I mean, they've throttled those things down so much it's ridiculous. Even cars that are 10 or 15 years old have very high quality emission systems on them. So to your point that only 2% of the cars that go through this fail, how many, what are the numbers on that? Do you know? I mean, how many people have to get these tests done every year versus how many fail?
So there's about 750,000 cars that go through this per year, which is it's a lot of cars.
Yeah.
And 2% after 2010, after cars being built in 2010 after, that number actually goes down to about 1%. And then half of those failures are because of gas caps
not
being tight.
Jason, I have a question from one of our listeners for you. This is Bindi King. She's saying Franklin County got rid of emissions testing, but then added a tax to gas price. So what would happen in St. Charles County, for example, if that were to happen?
So actually, Franklin County is not a part of the 4 counties that have to get this done per the EPA. So if we eliminated this, there would be no tax. This is just an undue burden amongst our taxpayers. It's a silly old regulation. And with Trump in office, and him getting rid of regulations, this is a great time to bring this up again.
Yeah, I wonder if anybody has asked Lee Zeldin about this. And because, some of this stuff they do through like administrative fiat, this threatening to fine a state if they didn't do this or didn't do that. I mean, some of that is administrative. I wonder if there's been if anybody has approached Lee Zeldin about how his EPA would react to something like this.
I think that's a fantastic question that hopefully we can, once we get this petition going, we're going to include Congressman Bob Onder to help us. And Nick Shore wants to be a part of this, Senator Nick Shore, to try to get something done again through the state, through the legislative process, and bring all these things together, and then have Congressman Bob Onder and Congresswoman Ann Wagner present this to the Trump administration.
Yeah, it's a great idea. And while you're at it, let's eliminate the personal property tax too.
Please.
What do you think?
That would be fantastic. And in Lake St. Louis, we don't have a personal property tax.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you still have to. You mean the city doesn't
Not
levy,
in addition to the
they
state?
don't levy a personal property tax, right? As part of what you pay.
The city of Lake St. Louis does not levy a personal property tax, and we cut taxes by 46%.
So you'd still have to pay that personal property tax to the state. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and to local fire departments or whoever else benefits from it.
That really adds up. I'm stunned every year. I'm just irritated when I see how much we owe.
Yeah. Jason, before I run out of time here, tell people what's made you decide to run for county executive out in St. Charles County.
I'm running for St. Charles County executive because the conservative principles, executive leadership, and I have that, and I have a proven track record of cutting personal or property tax by 46%, and then cutting crime by nearly 45% over the last 4 years, becoming a top 10 safest city in the state of Missouri. And I'm going to bring that executive leadership to St. Charles County and make sure that we stay safe.
And speaking of safety, I mean, maybe people don't realize that you are a law enforcement officer yourself. What role does that play in it?
It plays a big role. I'm a lieutenant colonel with the St. Louis County Police Department, and I manage 1,300 employees on a daily basis and protect the citizens of 400,000. And then we assist with the other 550,000 residents in St. Louis County. So I understand the leadership principles needed to run a large county, and I look forward to this campaign and getting our message out, and it's really resonating with our listeners.
Well, Jason Law, we appreciate your time this morning. Best of luck with this petition to get rid of this emissions testing. I'll happily sign it for you if you've got one circulating.
We'll get it to you, sir. I appreciate your time this morning.
You bet. Take care. Jason Law, candidate there for the St. Charles County executive, and what a relief that would be. I remember we used to have to go to those. We did get rid of this. Remember, we used to go to those testing stations, and they would run your tires on those rollers and all that stuff and rev the engine up really high, and they were damaging cars and transmissions and all kinds of problems across the state, and they were finally able to get rid of that. That was a more expensive process that you had to go through, but they kept some portion of it. It's just ridiculous. It's just such a small percentage of cars ever fail that, because there are very few clunkers on the road these days.
The wait is always so long.
Right. Yeah, and the clunkers were usually excluded from it. If a car was over so many years old, they didn't even have to get a test. Just didn't make any sense at all. All right, coming up, we're going to get to Congressman Bob Onder on the big, beautiful bill.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in experience and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis. CordellCordell.com.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
All right, it is May 23rd, and I bring that up because I get to go out to my friends at Macadoodles out there, Bryan and Fizey Road, once a month. I'll go out before the end of this month and make my bottle picks for next month. And that's always fun for me because, of course, I get to sample several different kinds of bourbon. But then my friends at Macadoodles will put it on sale, and you can go out and take advantage of that for the entire month. So for May, I got to pick one of my favorite standbys, and that is the Woodford Reserve Double Oaked. If you've not had it, you need to try it. If you have had it, you know it's delicious. And they've got probably one of the best prices in the St. Louis area right now at Macadoodles. If you love Woodford Reserve Double Oaked, go get yourself a bottle. The other one is a Missouri bourbon we picked. It's a Ben Holiday bourbon. They're soft red wheat. It's their Rickhouse proof, so it's a little bit stronger, but it is delicious. If you've not had Ben Holiday, try it. Thanks to our friends at Macadoodles for all that. Check them out at macadoodles.com.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. 52 degrees at 7:30. 6 people are now facing charges accused of stealing copper wire from St. Louis neighborhoods hit by the tornado. Police say a lot of that wire was taken from down power lines, specifically from these areas where the curfew is still in place because of that storm damage. All 6 of those suspects are being held behind bars without bond. Well, we're now learning the workshop city emergency management staffers had attended that Friday that led to the tornado sirens not going off related to climate change. The Post-Dispatch reports the workshop is designed to help people learn and develop skills to increase agility and collaboration in city functions so that employees can respond nimbly and effectively. The website for that workshop, by the way, mentions nothing about emergency response. In sports, the Cardinals kick off a 3-game series tonight against the Diamondbacks. First pitch at Busch Stadium is 7:15. Battlehawks back at the Dome tonight, 7 o'clock, facing San Antonio. City plays Colorado on the road tomorrow night, 8:30, part of the regular season. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Light traffic this morning, and here's some good news. They cleared the accident. Northbound 270 approaching Manchester. All lanes are open through there, and traffic is starting to thin out. But boy, we had a jam behind this, so it's going to take a while. Well, not too long, but it'll take a minute for that to happen. I did have a report of a pedestrian accident, J.J. Kelly Memorial Drive and Corporate Hill Drive. So that would be east of 270, just a little north of Manchester on that outer road. If you see some flashing lights headed toward there, that's what's going on. But eastbound 64, 40, and 70 both look great at this hour. 44 looks good. Northbound 55, just a little bit of volume as you head toward the Bayless area in the work zone this morning. And if you're headed in from Illinois, things look fine on the bridges downtown, and we're quiet on the Illinois side in general. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
We were just talking this morning about how AAA is yet again expecting record travel for this holiday weekend. But look, there's no need to go to the lake this weekend if you have your own little oasis right in your backyard. Save the money. What you need to do, the first step is to call Lakeside Renovation and Design and let one of their in-house designers help you create that little oasis right there at your home. Lakeside has been doing these really beautiful renovation projects at homes here in the St. Louis area for close to 3 decades. This is a family-owned company, A+ rating from the BBB, and really whatever you're wanting to do. So it could be renovating your kitchen, finally having that spa-like bathroom, which I would love. Finishing your basement, I would also love that. Adding a deck, Lakeside should be your go-to because they do it all. Projects on the inside and outside. So if you've noticed that your windows are jamming or your siding is fading or cracked, it's warping, it's time to replace them. And Lakeside can also help you with either of those products. What you need to know is that Lakeside they use top quality materials that are designed to last. And then on top of that, they back up all their work with a lifetime workmanship warranty. trust me when I tell you, this family behind Lakeside, they genuinely care about getting the job done right. It's not like these companies where you're hounding them, trying to make sure they show up on time or show up at all. This is a company that's going to make sure the job is done right. Go to lakesiderd.com or just give them a follow on social media. I follow them on Facebook and Instagram, and there's a lot of good inspo pics. So even if you're not ready to do a project, just go look at it. You'll get some good ideas for something you could do at your house. 636-978-5000. It's lakesiderd.com.
Let me tell you one of the reasons I think we became the largest injury firm in the world, and it's not even close. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My wife and I had a plan early on. In our firm, our lawyers only work on certain types of cases. Our products liability and dangerous drug lawyers only work on those cases. Same for car crashes, workers' compensation, medical malpractice, and insurance disputes. Our thinking is for these lawyers to focus on one area of the law and live it and breathe it. Power comes from knowledge. Many lawyers do everything, jack of all trades. Not us, and we don't charge an hourly rate. You only pay us if we win. If you want to hire us, it's easy. Dial Pound Law on your cell phone, pound 529, or visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer from the comfort of your own home. Let us get to work for you. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
And your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
He's bringing the heat. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. The Marc Cox Morning Show, on the air and streaming at 971talk.com.
I just think this is politically a loser for the Republican Party because no one believes that you can cut literally hundreds of billions of dollars from healthcare and food assistance and nobody gets hurt.
Capitol Beat.
All right, we've got Congressman Bob Onder on the phone with us this morning, straight back from Washington, D.C. And Bob, how are you, sir?
Doing great this morning. A little bit caught up on sleep. We pulled an all-nighter, which I had not done in many years, in order to get the big, beautiful bill done. So feeling really good about our work in D.C. this week.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. Of course, the headline is that, Senator Hawley's made some comments about the Medicaid cuts. And, of course, the left, as you heard Claire McCaskill there, is melting down over some of these cuts to Medicaid. Kind of explain to me how you understand that. My understanding is a lot of it has to do with waste and fraud and money that was going to illegals. That all plays into this, right?
Yeah, Mark. I was about to record a video on this subject today or later today. Look, I am a physician who has treated Medicaid patients for over 30 years. I know this system inside and out, and it is rampant with waste, fraud, and abuse. And Barack Obama made it a lot worse with Obamacare Medicaid expansion to healthy, able-bodied, working-age adults. And Biden made it even worse when during COVID he stopped eligibility checks on recipients in the name of fighting COVID. In the Biden administration, we saw a 50% increase in the cost of Medicaid, and blue states are ripping off the taxpayer big time. And there aren't even cuts. First of all, the traditional Medicaid population, the truly vulnerable, the disabled, the poor elderly, poor children, and pregnant women are not affected by this bill at all. Zero, nada. The only population affected by this bill are the working age, able-bodied adults who were added under Obamacare. 10 states haven't even added that population of recipients to Medicaid. And it would do two things. One, it would require eligibility checks so that the rolls won't be bloated with people who aren't even eligible, who don't even live in the state, and many times don't even exist, because we know there's abundant fraud in Medicaid. And secondly, it would require, for, again, able-bodied working age adults, mostly men, it would require very modest work requirements. I think they ought to be stronger than they are. 20 hours a week. And not only does paid work count, but looking for work counts, volunteer work counts, or being in school or a training program counts. So anyone who says we're somehow slashing Medicaid and really going to hurt people, they don't know what they're talking about, or they're lying to us, Mark. And I'm sorry to say that, but that is the way the modern Democratic Party and unfortunately some Republicans are dealing with these welfare issues.
Well, and what's surprising, I guess, to me, and I think you too, Mark, is that it sounds like Senator Josh Hawley has come out and said he doesn't support any cuts to Medicaid. Is that surprising to you, or are we missing something here?
Well, Kim, I've listened to some of his statements, and I don't know I don't know how he's defining cuts, because there are no cuts to Medicaid in this program. In all honesty, we should have gone, and we could talk about this for 2 or 3 hours about all the reforms we should be making to our Medicaid system. But there are no cuts in this program. We're doing two things. We're checking eligibility to make sure that the taxpayer is paying for someone who's really eligible for the program. And number two, we are insisting that those able to work under certain circumstances have to do so as a condition of receiving the benefits. Period. End of story. So maybe in the back of his mind, Josh is saying if there were true cuts, he wouldn't support that. Mm-hmm. I certainly hope that he will support the very modest, again, I think too modest, reforms that were made in the House bill, in the big, beautiful bill.
Yeah, we're talking to Congressman Bob Onder. Now, you were serving in the Missouri Senate, I believe, in 2020 when voters put into the Constitution, they expanded Medicaid. And a lot of us who were concerned about that at the time warned everybody, if you vote for this and the federal gravy train ever slows down, Missouri taxpayers are going to be on the hook for it. And it looks like that's exactly what might happen if there's if some of these reductions are put in place, right?
Well, yeah, but those aren't in the House bill. I think actually some of those probably should be, but they're not in the House bill. Yeah, that refers to what's sometimes called the FMAP, the matching formula. So traditional Medicaid nationwide for the truly vulnerable, the poor elderly, poor children, the disabled, and pregnant women, is a 50-50 program. It's a 50% state program, a 50% federal program, and that 50-50. Whereas the Obamacare expansion population, able-bodied working age adults who ought to be working but aren't, that's a 90-10 program, 90% federal, 10%. So the states look upon that as free money, and they have not been good stewards with that money. Missouri hasn't even been a very good steward with that money, but the blue states like California, New York, New Jersey, they they are just wasting money and spending twice as much money per capita as Missourians or other red states. So reform is not the same as cuts. We should be doing a lot more to reform, and I just can't believe any Republican would ever think that we don't need at least the very modest Medicaid reforms that are in this bill.
Absolutely. I support that completely. Congressman, let's celebrate what we did get done, and that is making permanent these tax cuts and some of the other 100%. Things like that.
100%. Fundamentally, Medicaid honestly is a side issue. SALT tax is a side issue. Fundamentally, this is a tax bill that renews the 2017 President Trump Tax Cut and Jobs Act. If we had not done that, 540,000 Missouri families, Missouri taxpayers in my district would have been faced with an on average 22% tax cut. Small businesses would have seen a tax rate that would go up to 43.4%. The average family would pay $1,600 more in federal taxes. The child tax exemption would go down. The standard deduction would go down. It would have been a $4.5 trillion tax increase, the largest tax increase in American history. So again, the renewal and the permanency of the tax cuts were an enormous cause for celebration. And at the same time, we reversed foolish Biden energy policy, like phasing out the gas and diesel-powered cars and trucks by 2035, by the EV mandates, CAFE standards. And we finally provided the funding that we need to secure the border, providing for another 1 million in annual removals of illegal aliens. And finally, we are building 701 miles of border wall, the big, beautiful wall that I believe 77 million Americans voted for on November 5th. So this bill is an enormous cause for celebration. My disappointments are mostly that it didn't do more on the fiscal side of getting our debt and deficit back on track. But the things this bill did do are overwhelmingly positive for the American people.
Bob, thank you very much for your time and enjoy your long weekend. Get some rest.
Well, thank you very much. Always love to be on. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Congressman Bob Onder there joining us live after helping pass the big, beautiful bill. Love that explanation of Medicaid. People needed to hear that.
Yeah.
People need to understand what they're dealing with here, and that this isn't the Democrats screaming that the sky is falling again, which they always do when you try to cut any of their ridiculous spending, which is this is a great example of that for sure. All right, quick break. Kim, what are we talking about today on Kim on a Whim?
So the U.S. Treasury Department just came out and announced it will no longer be producing pennies. And so the questions I asked myself would be, okay, well, first, why are they doing that? And what kind of an impact could it have on me? Some of you might be asking yourselves the same questions. Well, I went and I found the answers, and I'll share them with you when we come back.
All right. Back in a minute.
Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Pretty nice commute right now. Now, we do have some volume along northbound 270, mainly due to an earlier accident, but in pockets between Gravois and 6440. 141 northbound is jammed at 44. In fact, it's a little slow on either side of 44. 55, though, is in really good shape, and eastbound 70 looks great from Wright City into downtown. 64, just some moderate volume at Big Bend. And we are quiet on the Illinois side. Everything looks good over there and on the bridges downtown. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan of McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyhomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Let's talk about Rhino Shield for just a minute and the difference that can make in your house. If you know the weather, the hail we've seen recently, remember that bad hailstorm we had probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, where it was punching holes in the side of siding? The people with Rhino Shield didn't have any problems in that storm. It hardens like a ceramic shield on the outside of your house, but it goes on just about anything you have on the outside of your house. Brick, aluminum, steel, hardy cement board. They put Rhino Shield on 10 times thicker than regular paint. It seals it up. It's 100% waterproof, and it protects it from the elements. And it's beautiful, and it's durable, and you're going to love this as opposed to regular thin old paint. On top of all of that, you get it put on. I love this when I had it on my home. You get a 25-year transferable warranty that transfers to the next owner. I don't know how you beat that. Lab tested. It is a fantastic product. You should call today and get your free evaluation. Just call 877-25-RHINO or go online to 877-25rhino.com.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Progressive can help you protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, RV, and more. And if something wasn't mentioned that you had in mind, find out if it can be covered at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, because it probably can be.
Want immediate cash for your home or see what your home is really worth in today's market? Find out for free from the local experts. My friends Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty, 314-336-1991. Check out thegelmanteam.com today. That's thegelmanteam.com.
Barry Door and Window offers a personalized experience with endless customization for all types of exterior and interior doors, built in-house. We also have high-quality wood or vinyl windows that never compromise your dreams, with a strong 5-year window labor warranty. Don't forget our stunning garage doors. Best of all, our installations are performed by our own expert installers. At Barry Door and Window, we welcome you to a higher standard of customization and quality.
Just a reminder to have your air conditioner checked for the summer so you don't have a mishap and it goes down in the hottest day of the year. But it's always best to have it done. Call us and we'll be more than happy to come out there and check it for you. And like always, if you're having your furnace checked by another company and you are told that this is the year you need to replace it, call me for a second opinion. The 0% interest is still available on most brands. Save your cash and keep your credit cards open and away from those high rates. Call me. You'll be glad you did. Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest. It is 314-293-2600 or on the website bartinman.com. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Marc Cox here. Join me at the 2025 Missouri Legislative Review, Thursday, June 5th at the Lodge de Pere. Meet top lawmakers, connect with party leaders and grassroots advocates. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
The original truth-telling dog-faced pony soldier, Marc Cox.
Happy birthday to you. Shake your tail with the doggy crew. Give a yip yip and a backflip. Happy birthday to you.
All right, shout out to my grandson Ashton Alexander, who's celebrating his 4th birthday today.
Aww.
This is my little dude who's listening right now. So Ashton, Papa's been missing you, just so you know that. And I wish you have a very happy birthday. And I look forward to seeing you a little later today.
Happy birthday, Ashton.
Yeah, he's riding in the car with his mommy right now.
Does he have a theme for his birthday?
Would be surprised if it's not Paw Patrol.
That's the big hit right now. Paw Patrol.
He loves that. And he loves Spider-Man. So he's enjoying both of those.
Well, I'm sorry to break it to Ashton. I don't think he's going to care about the story I'm talking about for Kim on a Whim. But yes, happy birthday to Ashton. But the Treasury Department has announced that it's going to no longer be making pennies, which I think is very interesting. But basically, they're saying that this is going to have an annual savings about $56 million. Now, of course, the questions I had immediately were, why are they doing this and what kind of an impact could it have on me? Well, they're saying in the last 10 years, the cost of making these coins has risen from a little over 1 cent to nearly 4 cents per penny.
It costs 4 cents to make 1 penny.
Yeah, so obviously they're losing money. So I can understand why they're not wanting to do this anymore.
Well, nobody wants a pocket full of change anymore. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
right.
fewer people use cash on a regular basis. They're all using their cards. And then if you notice, the next time you're at the convenience store, I challenge you to notice this. That little tray they keep there next to the cash register. Yeah, it rarely is there anything in it, right? Yeah. Because people just aren't getting that much. They're just not using cash all that much these days.
The only reason I want quarters is for Aldi.
Well, there you go.
That's it. Now, the downside of this is that this is the Fox Business article. It says as pennies fade from use, companies will have to either round up or round down to the nearest cents, and 5 cents, I should say. What do we think they're going to do?
They're going to round up. That makes sense.
That's the only bummer, is that this really affects only people who pay cash and need the exact change, which, like you said, there's so few of us these days. We just use cards.
Yeah, I think here's the thing that drove this home to me over the last couple of years. I've always done this when I get home in the evening. If I'll go into the bedroom, I'll empty out my pockets of any change, and I keep a glass jar on the top of my dresser, and I just dump the change in there. And then ever so often, I would take that thing to the coin machine at my bank and dump it out and, get 40 or 50 or 60 bucks in pocket change that has accumulated. And over it's taken me longer and longer in between to fill that thing up. I mean, and I can't remember the last time I even went and dumped it. US Bank has some of those machines in their banks, certain locations. Maybe some other banks do. I'm just going by what I know with US Bank. If not, you got to go to one of those Coinstar machines where they take a portion of it from you for the convenience of emptying the coins out. But I can't remember the last time I did that because I just don't use cash very often anymore.
I remember as a kid putting on my quarters, and I'd get so excited when I realized how much money I had. And yeah, you take it to the bank and you get your cash for it.
Yeah.
Obviously you'll still have all the pennies that have already been produced. And by the way, this isn't happening until next year, so they still will be producing for a little bit. But you have to wonder if people are going to start trying to collect these. Like it'll be some collector's item.
Oh, the
maybe, pennies.
Maybe.
Is that a thing?
I always
people
love
hoarded toilet paper, so let's be real. Let's not put it past people.
I always love the stories where somebody got a big tax bill or something and tried to pay for it in pennies, like rolled a wheelbarrow full of pennies in to pay for it. And
just like I can't stand that I have to pay this.
Stick it in your eye and let you deal with all these pennies these days. So what's the date? Have they set a date for have they made the decision they will stop making pennies after?
It says early 2026.
So next year sometime.
So I would assume by this time next year, if I had to guess, they will no longer be making pennies. Why would it take 4 cents per penny?
Well, I imagine labor costs are up. But
I mean, it's a machine. Wouldn't you just pop it in the machine and it's the stuff that's on, like, it would just, why would you have to hire? I don't know. I'm not saying you don't have to have any labor involved with that, but it doesn't seem like you'd have to have a ton of people there if the machines are the ones that are making these.
Right. And is that the best judge of whether or not it's no longer necessary? But what about when a nickel costs 6 cents to produce? I mean, you could make that argument about all of them, probably.
Or what if a liberal gets elected in 4 years? Could they just go back on this and say, we're going to start making pennies again?
Sure. Of course they could.
Make pennies, don't make pennies. Okay, now we're not going to make quarters. No, we are going to make quarters.
Now, is Treasury making this decision on their own, or is this congressional action?
I don't believe it's congressional.
No.
I think this is just, my understanding is I think it was the Treasury Department.
All right. Coming up, we got the winner. We get to announce it as the exclusive radio host of Guns N' Hoses. The winner of our Queen of Hearts drawing this week. Tell you how you can get involved in that and help our friends at Guns N' Hoses and Backstoppers. And then we're going to talk to Jonah Platt about the attacks on the Israeli embassy workers.
Cardinals fans, there are more ways this season to watch your Cardinals on FanDuel Sports Network. For the first time, you can subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network and stream the Cardinals without blackouts. Monthly, seasonal, and annual packages available. Also new this season, you can stream FanDuel Sports Network through Amazon Prime Video with an add-on subscription. As always, you can watch FanDuel Sports Network through TV providers including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. Visit Cardinals.com/TV to learn more.
The International Institute of St. Louis invites you to try international cuisine, support local immigrant-owned businesses, and more at their community bazaars. The bazaars are free and open to the public at the International Institute of St. Louis, located at 3401 Arsenal Street, and take place every other Friday from noon to 2 p.m. Learn more about the International Institute of St. Louis Community Bazaars at iistl.org/bazaar. Message supported by Together Credit Union.
We're definitely going to be late to the concert. I feel like we should be there by now.
I'm just taking a little detour. I got to fill up my gas tank, and I know this place a couple towns over where the gas is cheaper.
Are you serious? We're going to be late for the concert because you're driving out of the way for cheaper gas? Just use Upside.
What's Upside?
Upside is the free cashback app that gets you real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait, I can get cash back just for buying the gas I need anyway?
Yes, I use it all the time, and I've made around $200. Now pull over so you can download the Upside app before we miss the concert.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas.
gas. Use promo code TRADE25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank, PayPal, or as a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TRADE25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TRADE25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's code TRADE25.
Hey, we love our baseball in St. Louis, and with Underdog Fantasy, you can go yard all baseball season long with their Champions Game. Take a swing at making baseball entries this season. Underdog, one of the leading places to make all of your sports selections, and you can play now in Missouri. Millions of fans have won billions making plays on Underdog. You might be next. To play, you have to start with downloading the app. You come up with a username and then a password. I'm going to give you a great promo code for some extra bonus here in a second. You choose whether a player, though, in the Champions Game is going to go higher or lower on one of their stats. So in baseball, we know our baseball. We love our baseball. It's easy. Home runs, strikeouts, total bases, and more. Mason Wynn, Brendan Donovan, you name the player. You make the picks. If your entry is correct, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. So you can turn $1 into 1,000 with just your baseball knowledge. Check out the app today. Download it. Sign up with the promo code MarkR. That unlocks a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make that first deposit. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
New Trump tariff threats. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The president posted them this morning on Truth Social, and one in particular is moving the stock markets. Dow futures down nearly 500 points after he recommended a 50% tariff on European Union imports starting June 1st, calling the EU difficult to deal with.
Highlighting, quote, trade barriers, VAT taxes, ridiculous corporate penalties, non-monetary trade barriers, monetary manipulations, unfair and unjustified lawsuits against American companies.
Fox Business Network Cheryl Kazoni. In another post, President Trump wrote he expects Apple to manufacture the iPhones they sell in the U.S. in the U.S. iPhones made overseas will be subject to at least a 25% tariff. Harvard has just filed a lawsuit challenging a new Trump administration crackdown.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem accuses leaders at Harvard University of allowing violent activities and anti-Semitism to create an unsafe environment for all students.
They will no longer be allowed to participate in this student exchange visitor program.
Not only is Harvard unable to enroll future foreign students, but the current 6,800 foreign students must transfer, an agency statement says.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Harvard already sued trying to unblock frozen federal grants. Last night in Washington, D.C.
Sarah was somebody who really cared about building peace. She spent time in Israel studying friendships.
National Council of Jewish Women CEO Sheila Katz at a vigil for Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lashinsky, the couple who worked for the Israeli embassy, shot dead Wednesday night. The accused gunman's charged with murder could also face hate crime and terror charges. It's now a week on the run for 5 escaped prisoners in Louisiana who broke out last Friday. Another woman's been charged helping the fugitives, giving one of them cash.
This makes 4 non-inmate arrests so far. A source tells Fox the other 2 women are girlfriends of 2 of the fugitives. Jail maintenance worker Sterling Williams also faces charges for helping facilitate the escape. He says he did that under threat.
Nate Foy in New Orleans. America's listening to Fox News.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in experience and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis. CordellCordell.com.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. A really beautiful start to this Friday morning. 52 degrees now, a little chilly at 8:03. We're now learning the workshop city emergency management staffers attended Friday that led to the tornado sirens not going off related to climate change. The Post-Dispatch reports the workshop is designed to help people learn and develop skills to increase agility and collaboration in city functions so that employees can respond nimbly and effectively. By the way, the website for that workshop mentions nothing about emergency response. St. Louis police say after further investigation, there are no direct or credible death threats against the head of SEMA, Sarah Russell. Russell is currently on paid administrative leave. A spokesperson for the police department says, though, they will continue to monitor and evaluate the situation. A police chase in St. Louis ended with a Festus man jumping off the Chain of Rocks Bridge right into the Mississippi River. Chase started around 1:30 Thursday morning when officers were trying to pull over a man who was driving a truck that had plates linked to another car. Investigators say they found 56-year-old Jack Roper on the riverbank after jumping off the bridge. He was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. 8:04, 52 degrees at 97.1 FM Talk. All right, in sports, Cardinals start a 3-game series tonight against the Diamondbacks. First pitch at Busch Stadium is at 7:15. They will have day games both tomorrow and Sunday. Battlehawks back at the Dome tonight facing San Antonio. Kickoff for that game is 7 o'clock. And then City playing Colorado on the road tomorrow night, 8:30. That is part of the regular season. 52 degrees now as we approach 8:05. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We do have a stall reported westbound 255 at Lindbergh. Watch for that kind of on the right shoulder. But for the most part, we've got that holiday traffic in advance. And things look great on eastbound 70 from Wentzville into downtown. Now, southbound 61 does have a slow pocket just south of Highway P. And then things open up and look fine. Now, if you're on the Illinois side, really, we look good. Especially headed for any of the bridges downtown. Missouri side, we've got 141 northbound slowing at 44, and still some moderate volume along northbound 270 around Doherty Ferry. But really, other than that, we are in good shape. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's a pretty Friday as we get set to kick off the long holiday weekend on this Friday. Sunny skies. It's a little chilly out the door this morning. 71 for the high. Tonight, more and more clouds take over. The evening is dry. Couple of spotty showers late night, 55. Saturday, a mix of clouds and sunshine. A couple of showers, but a lot of dry time. Saturday, 68. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
All right, it is 8:06 right now here on this Friday morning, 52 degrees if you're just leaving the house. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere by downloading the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
The Marc Cox Morning Show.
Listen to both sides. The bottom line is, I respect that. We don't agree.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Just to find a voice. Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
I don't know how to put this.
Marc Cox.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Well, it adds excitement, doesn't it, folks?
All right, enjoy your beautiful Friday morning. Temps in the 50s out there right now. Hey, you dodged a bullet. It was about 45 when I got up this morning and came into the station. It's warming up nicely for your Friday. Let's hope the weather holds at least for a little while before that rain moves in. I'm guessing that's going to hit us tomorrow, just in time for tomorrow and into Monday, depending on what your plans are. Now, maybe like Ethan, you're going camping, or you're one of the millions of people that are hitting the roads. Yeah, it looks like the chance of rain ramps up a little bit tomorrow anyway, right? And then worse on Sunday. Unfortunately, it looks like, I don't know, moderate on Monday, later Monday afternoon. There's a pretty good chance.
But it's not really warm in the sense that it's pool weather. So even if the rain weren't an issue, I already saw one of the pools in St. Peter's is postponing its open date. They said they'll reevaluate, I think, Tuesday.
I got a friend who's going to celebrate in style. You know what he went out and bought? He bought on Facebook Marketplace. He bought some jarts.
Like,
you remember jarts?
Wait. I'm thinking like jorts.
Not jorts.
Jean
No, she won't even know what this is. Will she?
But are they like real ones?
They're real ones.
Wait, tell
They're
me what they are.
vintage.
I thought they were
jarts.
illegal.
Well, I don't know if it's on Facebook Marketplace.
I won't
Nobody's
say what
policing
comes
it.
to my mind. What are jarts?
So when we were young,
Yeah.
a fun thing to do in the backyard was to take a thing that sort of looked like an arrow. It was about 12 inches long, and on one end it had a weighted piece of steel with a point on it, and you would put a circle 30 feet away over there and a circle 30 feet away over here, and you would toss these and try to hit the circle. So you had to throw it way up in the air and hope that the thing with the heavy metal point hit the circle and not the head of the person standing next to it.
That sounds really
Kind of like horseshoes, but with
so
death.
it's encouraged to play with children then.
Sort of
around.
like, it was a kid's game.
How is it a kid's game?
Well, it didn't last very long.
You know what? Why don't we add some fire to it and have them flaming? That makes a lot
I'm
more
sure
sense.
somebody did that.
So not even close to jean shorts.
One of the many dangerous toys we used to have that are now illegal.
They still make them, but now they don't have the point.
Right. Now they
just
don't have the point on the end of them that's made out of steel. So my buddy found some in Marketplace and he bought them, and he's hoping to play with them this weekend.
Take a video of that, please.
Yeah, I will. I
must
will.
be too young for that.
Yeah, you're a little under the age to remember jarts for sure. Coming up, we're going to have our Queen of Hearts drawing. Of course, we'll do that in the next segment. 97.1 is the official partner of Guns and Hoses for the radio side of things, and we're proud to announce this every week. You have a chance to buy cards in this drawing, and if they draw your name, it's a Queen of Hearts, you win half the pot, which is up over $2,000 now. And if they just draw another card and it's in your slot, then you can win $25, $50, $100, depending on what the card is that gets drawn. You can participate every week, and it only costs like $5 to play. And the money, of course, all benefits Guns and Hoses. They're doing this all year long, and we get to announce the winner every Friday at about 8:20. At the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk a bit more. They're now talking about capital murder charges in the case up in Washington, D.C. of the anti-Semitic murder of these two Israeli embassy staffers. And Jonah Platt does his own show, his own podcast called Being Jewish with Jonah Platt. And we want to spend a little bit of time with him here at the bottom of the hour, just talking about this really wave of anti-Semitism that's increased dramatically since October 7th, the attack on Israel, and just get his take on maybe the president's policies toward Harvard and what he's trying to do around the country, and see what his position is on all of that, and if he thinks he goes far enough. I just don't know the answer to that. Before the hour is out, I'm going to brag a little bit about something I just did at my own house, which is put in some beautiful lighting outside. My friends at Pro Outdoor came over and installed that for me, and it's gorgeous. And you have a chance to win one of those for yourself. We'll talk about that at about 8:45, 8:47 this morning. Right now, though, let's get to our top story.
The Marc Cox short list.
3 clear goals: restore the warrior ethos, rebuild the military, reestablish deterrence. None of this woke DEI, CRT, gender pronoun, green new scam stuff. That's all out. Ideology is out.
Yeah, that's my Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. I love what this guy is doing in the Department of Defense. Despite all of his haters, he is making it what it's supposed to be. That is lethal and a force to take care of our enemies.
96% of all the stories that mainstream media prints about Elon are negative. 96%.
Surprise, surprise. Joe Rogan yesterday on his podcast, they did take a look at this. And is it any wonder? I mean, with the media on your side, the mainstream media, the progressive left in this country, very, very much attempts to sway public opinion, and far too often they're successful.
It's despicable, and we've seen the Democrat Party turn a blind eye, and in some cases actually embrace such anti-Semitic illegal behavior.
Caroline Levitt talking about the Ilhan Omar coming out and basically refusing to condemn the murder in broad daylight of two young people who happen to be Jewish. For some reason, this is not playing here. Hang on just a minute. All right. Skip that and just come on out to me.
And I really got into it over the last year, and I figured the whole system out. And for various and sundry reasons, the United States of America was being screwed, and we were being taken advantage of and being laughed at for years and years. And I said, it's not going to happen anymore.
That's President Trump talking about the prescription drugs yesterday. And actually, the soundbite I was trying to play for you was RFK Jr., who came out and talked about this new health directive. Kim, we've talked about that. Remember, he took a lot of heat by saying by September he was going to be able to tell you what the root cause of autism was. And people freaked out. And, of course, in the Democratic playbook these days, you have to be 100% against whatever anybody in the Trump administration is for. So people actually came out and said we need to have a day to celebrate autism instead of talking about ending it. I'm sorry. I know you're not serious about that. If you could prevent somebody from having autism, you would probably do that, because many people struggle with this for their whole lives. I know it's on a sliding scale and people are affected by it in various different ways. But if you could eliminate or cut down on what's causing it, why wouldn't you do that?
Right. And he points to 4 key areas where he feels like they're having the biggest impact on kids and all these illnesses that we're seeing. Poor diet, which he says is primarily driven by these ultra processed foods, exposure to chemicals like food additives and pesticides, lack of physical activity and chronic stress, and then over medicalization, which he says is too many prescription medicines and vaccines.
Yeah. Here part of what he said on it yesterday. I figured out what my audio problem was.
And so my uncle tried to do this in 1962 after Rachel Carson's book came out. And unfortunately, he was killed before that. For 60 years, we've been waiting for the government to recognize that there's a crisis in chemical exposures and the increase in chronic disease. This was important for that, but this was just the diagnostics. 60 days from now, we put out the prescription. So we will put out a series of policies to address this issue and to eliminate the chronic disease.
Yeah, he thinks he's going to have some answers, or at least some suggestions to point towards some answers 2 months from now.
I mean, this is all stuff that we've been hearing more and more about lately, and there have been some really great efforts and wins when they're talking about removing a lot of these dyes that have been found in foods.
Fluoride? Florida banned fluoride this week.
Yep. More and more states are doing these things. And I mean, for so long, people would say you were crazy if you suggested this. But the studies are showing that no, this absolutely is having an impact. And then we were just talking about glyphosate here in Missouri. You know, there's this bill, right, that would try to hold, I guess it's specifically Bayer, right, accountable. And it's been very controversial. In fact, I hear I don't know, it wouldn't be a PSA, but I hear ads or whatever you want to call them running, saying, oh, this is helping farmers, and you're going to hurt the farming industry if you don't allow us to produce this. And then there are people who earnestly believe that. 100%.
They do. They believe that it would be a mistake to get rid of it, and farmers would have lower yields and food prices would go up. And I don't know, but it's a conversation worth having. I'm excited that RFK is bringing some of these things forward finally, because I think he's not owned by big pharma. And so many other people have been in the past, and they've been afraid to talk about these things. All right, we're going to get to a quick break. We'll get to our Queen of Hearts drawing and talk more about how you can help people who were affected by the tornadoes of 1 week ago. Can you believe it's only been a week? And the cleanup continues, and the need is still there. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll get to Jonah Platt at the bottom of the hour on the wave of anti-Semitism that has resulted in another deadly attack at the bottom of the hour.
The Marc Cox Morning Show on 97.1 FM Talk. traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Pretty good commute going on this morning. If you are on eastbound 70, it looks great from Warrenton all the way into downtown. There's a little bit of volume southbound 61, south of Highway P through A, and then things open up. 6440 looks great from out west into the city. 55 is in good shape. Now, there's a little moderate volume still on northbound 270. It's mainly on either side of Manchester, but we are quiet on the Illinois side and on the bridges downtown. This report brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, Lakeside Renovation and Design has been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes inside and out, from windows and siding to kitchens, baths, and outdoor spaces. They deliver quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. So visit lakesiderd.com to start your dream project today. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk. Do you ever wonder if you've saved enough money to retire? Because how do we really know, right? You save it, and then you think, well, is this enough? So unless you have some help or any kind of knowledge about how things work, you're not going to know. This is why I like this. It's a one-night class, a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101, where a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects goes over everything. You learn about reducing taxes. You learn about how to pay for health care and retirement. How do you maximize Social Security? They do this for free at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis, but you do have to bring 3 canned goods for St. Louis Crisis Nursery. There are some openings, but they ask that you register. So call 314-947-2012. That way you can listen to everything and decide whether you want someone else to manage it. But even if you decide to just do it yourself, you'll have more knowledge. 314-947-2012.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-9369, 800-525-9369, 800-525-9369.
The Cards, the D-backs.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 7:15. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
When disaster strikes, the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis is there. Tornadoes have left families displaced and communities in crisis, but you can help. The Urban League Tornado Disaster Relief Humanitarian Fund provides emergency shelter, food, clothing, and critical support to those affected. Your donation brings hope when it's needed most. Visit ulstl.com to donate. That's ulstl.com. Stand with us. Stand for St. Louis.
Nailing it. Marc Cox. Find everything Marc Cox at 971talk.com/Cox. Guns N' Roses Queen of Hearts, benefiting the St. Louis Backstoppers.
All right, time to announce our winner for this week for the Queen of Hearts raffle. They do their drawings every Friday just after 8 a.m., and you can get your card for $5 each, or you buy 5, you get 1 free. The winner this week is the 3 of clubs in slot number 20. So that is ticket number 297-815-667. and that winner will get $25. If you get a face card, it's worth more. If you get the Queen of Hearts, you get half the jackpot. It's up to $2,200 right now, and will continue to grow until we get a Queen of Hearts. You've already had one this year, so you got to play to win. And all of the money is going to go to Guns and Hoses, and then eventually to St. Louis Backstoppers. Go to stlgunsandhoses.com, and you can click on the link there right in the middle of the page and get to the Queen of Hearts raffle. Buy your tickets there, and remember, you're supporting a really great cause, and we're very proud that we're the exclusive radio partner of Guns and Hoses, and looking forward to taking part in that this November. Wednesday, November 26th is when we'll be doing that, in fact, down at Enterprise Center, and I can't wait to take part in that this year officially for the first time. Should be a lot of fun.
Guns and Hoses, that was my first time last year going. And
It's
it was
great,
it
isn't
was
it?
really I'm not going to lie, that's typically not my vibe. It actually was really fun. But it's cool too because we have this supply drive, that they're doing. They're part of in light of that awful tornado that came through St. Louis, and we're helping them to collect different, essential items to help families get back on their feet. So things like bottled water, non-perishable food like peanut butter, canned soup, canned fruit, baby items. I know they need a lot of like diapers, wipes, cleaning products, toiletries, gift cards. They're going to be collecting those. So it'll be Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And it's the St. Louis Honda. And I'm sorry, I should know how to pronounce this.
Munganast.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've obviously being from St. Louis, I've seen that. And I'm always like, am I saying that right?
Dave Munganast, a great guy and a great dealership as well. So we appreciate them making their space available to collect these things.
Yep.
So if it's convenient, just swing by there, and they're right there on South Lindbergh, 5939 South Lindbergh. You can swing by and drop off your supplies, and they'll be sure and get them to the people that are in need. So it's a great location to do that, and take a look around while you're there. Maybe you'll find a car.
That would be nice. Although my car's paid off.
Oh, good for you.
It is. So is my husband's. It's really nice not having a car payment. But now I feel like not that I'm not a careful driver in general, but now, especially having both of our cars paid off, I'm always like, okay, I have to be really, really careful because I don't want to do anything where we'd have to then get a new car and have a payment again.
Right. Well, and that's a debate probably everybody has, right? How long do you drive them? My dad had a rule. I remember growing up specifically. If a car got 100,000 miles on it, he'd sell it.
Really?
And in my opinion, they built them a lot better back then than they do now.
Oh,
But
no
that's
way.
He was just convinced that at 100,000 miles, something was going to go wrong. So the funny thing about that is that sometime in the 90s, he bought a brand new GMC Denali, and he was so proud of that thing. He probably bought it in 2003, I think. And he drove that thing for years. And when he passed away, I took the car because it was big and spacious, and I could tow my boat with it. It was fantastic. I drove it till it had 243,000 miles on it.
If you take care of it,
and it's
you
still
can get
going.
that out of most cars.
I sold it to a friend of mine who's still driving it today.
Wow.
And he loves it. So, yeah, you can, if you take care of them, I'm hoping my truck goes 250 or 300,000 miles. That's my goal.
Oh yeah. My SUV has close to 150,000 miles on it. I got it in 2018. It's a 2016. See, my rule is I don't buy new. I will always buy used because I feel like the minute you drive it off the lot, you've already lost a bunch of value in the car. Yeah,
there's something to that. I mean, there have been times, and maybe we're in them again, I don't know, where they're offering you such good pricing. If the financing rates are reasonable, depending on what the offer is. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it makes sense. But
remember during COVID,
it's never a good investment.
It was a weird phenomenon during COVID where a new car was somehow cheaper, right, than a used car. Wasn't that this weird time? I remember that.
Oh, where they actually went up in value?
Yeah,
I do
people
remember
were
that.
trading in their used cars when they weren't even necessarily. I mean, it was like they were getting all this money for them.
Yeah.
Because it was it the chip? There was some I forget the reason why. It was like the parts or something
earlier
were so delayed, and so they needed them on these used cars that they couldn't get them in the new cars.
And earlier we were talking about emissions testing. Remember Cash for Clunkers when Obama did that, and people were that program eliminated a lot of the really older cars off the road, and now the newer ones all have so much better emissions that emissions testing are really completely an unnecessary waste of money these days. There's no doubt about that. When we come back, we are going to talk a bit more about this tragedy outside of a museum in D.C. where 2 innocent young people were gunned down because of anti-Semitic hate. We're going to talk to Jonathan Platt, who is a Jewish man who has his own podcast called Being Jewish with Jonah Platt. We're going to get into that at about 8:35. Stay tuned.
This Memorial Day weekend, bring your crew to Busch Stadium to see the Cardinals take on the D-backs. May 23rd to the 25th, catch great promotions all weekend long, including a Mason Win bobblehead and a Kid City Connect jersey giveaway. Kick off your summer with ballpark hot dogs, ice-cold beers, and entertainment for the whole family. Tickets are available at Cardinals.com. This is how summer is meant to be. See you at the ballpark.
This is Alec Burleson, St. Louis Cardinals, for the Lou.
Catch a Cardinals game on your next date night or friends night out. Whether it's love in the stands or laughter with your crew, nothing beats ballpark vibes under the lights. Cold drinks, great eats, and Cardinals baseball. Check out Friday Night Live at Busch Stadium and enjoy happy hour price food and drinks all game long. Every Friday home game. Get your tickets today at Cardinals.com and make memories that go beyond the scoreboard. Busch Stadium, where great nights begin.
Okay, so the hail came a week ago, and for a lot of people, there is more significant damage than you might think. You need to get your roof checked out, and I want to recommend a personal friend of mine. He is Curtis Correll at Correll Roofing. You can go on Facebook and just search Correll Roofing, 2 R's, 2 L's, or you can call him. He's given me his cell phone number, 314-222-9529. I'll give you that number again in just a minute. Here's why it's important. There are people from out of town who are swooping in now trying to do roofing jobs. So then once they're done, they're gone, and you'll have no ability to find them again. That's why you want a local company who's doing this. Curtis crews have over 20 years of experience getting the job done. They don't overcommit so that you have the opportunity to get the work done right, and it's not rushed. And they use luxury lines of roofing, including architectural shingles and all. Call him today at 314-222-9529.
I'm Nicole Murray with Your Money Now. President Trump said in a social media post that Apple will have to pay a tariff of 25% or more for iPhones made outside of the U.S. Shares of Apple fell more than 2% upon the news. And more from President Trump. He is recommending a straight 50% tariff on the European Union after complaining that trade negotiations have stalled. L3 Harris Technologies will pay $62 million to settle allegations that it lied about the prices of equipment it sold to the U.S. military. The firm has been tapped to help turn a luxury 747 jet gifted to the U.S. from Qatar into President Trump's new Air Force One. OpenAI CFO Sarah Friar said she's confident the multi-billion-dollar bet on Jony Ive's startup will pay off and eventually boost ChatGPT subscriptions. The company announced the roughly $6.4 billion deal earlier this week. Futures are sharply lower following President Trump's tariff updates. On Thursday, the Dow Industrials lost 1. The NASDAQ closed flat. That's Your Money Now.
What does the future of mobility in Michigan sound like? That's the sound of new EV charging stations at our state parks. That's the sound of over $20 billion in new investments to produce EVs and batteries in Michigan. And that's the silence of Michigan's new En-Road wireless charging system. Discover all the ways MEDC is driving next-gen mobility in Michigan at michiganbusiness.org.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads, it's really been a nice morning as far as the commute goes. Now, southbound 61 is slow approaching Highway A out west. But the rest of the area looks good, and that's northbound 270. That includes 55. We're quiet on the Illinois side and on the bridges downtown. Just a really nice start to the holiday. This report brought to you by New Perspective Senior Living. New Perspective Weldon Spring. They're redefining senior living. They've got modern apartments, delicious meals, activities, entertainment, a state-of-the-art AI fall detection system. Visit npseniorliving.com to schedule a tour today. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, let's talk about my friends at New Riff. I'm telling you, if you have not tried some of their latest offerings out there, you are missing out. They've got a new 8-year. If you see that on the shelves, grab it. I had a bottle of it myself, just popped it open the other day, and it is, as advertised, absolutely delicious. This is a high filtration. They've got so many different options for you these days, and they do rye in a way that will open your eyes. I mean, it is delicious. They've got a great malted rye. Their regular rye is fantastic. They do a single barrel bourbon, and they've got this new 8-year that is on the shelf. So wherever you're buying your favorite bourbons, you're going to see their unique bottles. You're going to see its New Riff on there. And if you don't, then ask for it by name. I know they've got it at Schnucks and Deerbergs. I know they carry it at Macadoodles and Total Wine. Thanks to our friends at Lore Wine and Spirits for bringing this in. If you visit Covington, Kentucky, be sure and go by their distillery right there on the riverbanks just across from downtown Cincinnati. And if they don't have it in the store you go to, ask for it by name. It is New Riff Bourbon.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Just a reminder to have your air conditioner checked for the summer so you don't have a mishap and it goes down in the hottest day of the year. But it's always best to have it done. Call us and we'll be more than happy to come out there and check it for you. And like always, if you're having your furnace checked by another company and you are told that this is the year you need to replace it, call me for a second opinion. The 0% interest is still available on most brands. Save your cash and keep your credit cards open and away from those high rates. Call me. You'll be glad you did. Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest. It is 314-293-2600 or on the website bartinman.com. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Boom goes the dynamite. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show. Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com.
Congresswoman Omar,
anybody safe?
Can I get your reaction to the shooting that happened in D.C. last night?
I'm going to go for now. I'm going to go for now, Mark. Couldn't even say condolences for the family.
Wow. That was, of course, a reporter trying to get Ilhan Omar to comment on this because she's been pretty vocal in her support for the Palestinians, if not specifically Hamas. But I have a hard time separating the two if you've listened to this show for any period of time. And she should have been able to look into a TV camera and say, I condemn all violence. That's pretty simple. You condemn that violence. You two people were murdered who did absolutely nothing wrong. Why would you not be able to condemn that? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. This was Jeanine Pirro yesterday. She's the acting U.S. attorney there in Washington, D.C. now. She's the one that got appointed. Of course, Judge Jeanine worked at Fox, but before that, she was a judge herself for many years, and she's been appointed U.S. attorney in place of Ed Martin. Go to cut 3, please.
Let me just say that, the president and the attorney general have both indicated that, in cases where the death penalty is warranted and seems appropriate, we will use it. It's far too early to say whether that is the case, but this is a death penalty eligible case.
Yeah, that's good. And I hope that they seek the death penalty. The victims here were about to be engaged. Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lashinsky
had just bought a ring, I guess the week before, and was planning on proposing next week.
Yes. How sad. In fact, today I've got a friend here on Facebook. I worked with her years ago at Channel 4, in fact, and haven't followed her career. I know she went into PR when she left news, but she posted today that this hits too close to home. She's sickened about this. Sarah Milgram was from her hometown, went to one of the rival high schools. I've been to her temple. I've been to her high school. I've walked the hills of KU where she went to college. And it's saddened because although she didn't specifically know her, she is Jewish and she's afraid. And that is a shame that we live in a situation where, people, because of their faith, have to be afraid to go out at night. I mean, Washington, D.C. is a dangerous town, but this was a targeted murder. And I don't know where this stops is what I'm afraid of. We have Jonah Platt on the phone with us right now, the host of the podcast Being Jewish with Jonah Platt. And Jonah, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you. We were just talking about Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lashinsky and this situation in New York and in Washington. And I was talking about a friend of mine who just posted today. She's Jewish. She's concerned now for her own safety. I mean, not that she lives in Washington, D.C., but this thing is all over the place. It's frightening.
It's very frightening. The community is understandably extremely afraid because the randomness of that attack, just being outside of a Jewish venue, simply being present there, got these two young, disengaged couple killed. And so if you're in the community, you are now worried, what if I'm on the front steps of my synagogue or my community center or my Jewish museum? Is somebody coming for me? It's a very scary time.
We've seen so much anti-Semitism, specifically on college campuses like Columbia, like Harvard. And a lot of these leaders are really not saying much about it. They're not condemning it. The Trump administration has come out, obviously pulling funding from Harvard. And now they've said you can no longer enroll international students, and any current international students will have to transfer. What's your take on that? Is that appropriate? Do you think they should do that at other universities like Columbia?
It's a tricky one because, and I find that sometimes the administration will take like a part of a good idea that if done sort of surgically and more targeted would be right on the money, but they do it kind of broadly. So look, do I think the answer is banning all international students, period? No, that feels like a little too broad of a brush to me. I mean, if some random, French kid is coming to study in the States, now he's getting swept up because of this, Islamist undercurrent. That doesn't seem quite fair to me, or that it's solving any problem, really. It seems like it's sort of creating one. So to me, it seems like, using a butcher knife when you need a scalpel. So I wish it was a little more targeted and going after just, the elements that are detracting from our country, and not just sort of wiping everybody, throwing the baby out with the bathwater, as it were.
Very true. Jonah Platt is our guest, and Jonah, you know, my friend also made this reference, and I think it's a fair one to remind people of. She said too many people throw around the phrase "from the river to the sea" or globalize the intifada, and they try to argue that saying that is not hate speech. But those are exactly the kind of phrases that, for all we know, might have triggered this guy to fly from Chicago to Washington and murder two people.
Absolutely. I mean, you're of course absolutely right. And look, it's understandable if you are a person who is well-intentioned and good-hearted, and you truly do care about just, protesting to support the people of Palestine. Okay. But we know for a fact that these phrases are being used by people who mean it very literally for what it says, which is to wipe out the Jews. That's the river to the sea part. Get rid of all the Jews that are in the land of Israel. And when you're talking about, intifada revolution and globalize the intifada, that very literally means, bring this armed struggle around the world. And that's exactly what this guy did. He took his armed struggle to Washington, D.C. and committed an act of murder against two Jewish people. And we shouldn't be surprised that when you have people every single day marching in the streets shouting, essentially, bring violent struggle around, that somebody did it. And so it's extremely dangerous. And very clearly, it's being proven out that's what's behind this for a lot of people.
Jonah, you host the Being Jewish with Jonah Platt podcast, right? Tell us a little bit about that and what kinds of people you're talking to for that podcast.
Sure. So I bring on notable Jews and non-Jews alike because I want to create a really wide community of people. And I bring people on to talk about their connection to the Jewish community, whether they're Jewish themselves or an ally to the community. I think it's really important right now to be having honest, raw conversations about what Jews are going through. And I think people hearing from notable Jews about what their experience is of being Jewish, both the celebratory and what's beautiful about being Jewish and the difficulties and challenges today of being Jewish and how that intersects in different professional fields and in personal lives, and to hear from allies about why they're involved and why they care and what they're experiencing. And, so many allies are experiencing anti-Semitism for doing anything and relating to or supporting in any way the Jewish community, that people come after them. And normalizing those conversations and allowing people to take part in them together and feel within a community that they're not alone has been very fulfilling. And I've gotten wonderful feedback that for many people, it's a balm of sorts in a very doom scrolling kind of time to come across this positive community exploring these issues and the beautiful spectrum of Jewish identity.
Yeah. Have you got any pushback in Hollywood? You're in LA, right?
I am in LA, and that my background is Hollywood as an actor and as a writer. And the only pushback I would say it has been, certain people within Hollywood who, for example, won't come on the show, don't want to come on the show, people who are still, unfortunately, conflating their Jewish identity with politics, and that somehow it's controversial to simply speak about their own, innate identity, which, tells you a little bit about them and where they are in terms of the Israel and anti-Semitism question today. But other than those individuals who don't want to appear on the show, I haven't felt anything personally. I've actually seen quite the opposite. I've seen a lot of Hollywood on the inside wake up to this moment. Jews who have maybe not been taking these kinds of things seriously or their responsibility in the storytelling world seriously, and now see how dire things are and have become engaged and want to now create more Jewish narratives and make sure Jews are being included in, employee resource groups and having a voice as a people. Because I know the stereotype is that Jews run Hollywood, but the truth of the matter is, A, there's as many non-Jews as there are Jews, and B, a lot of the Jews who are there are not doing anything for the benefit of the Jews anyway. So it doesn't matter if they're Jewish or not.
Yeah.
And so some of them have now woken up and become engaged, which I've actually been very pleased and encouraged by.
Glad to hear that. In fact, Jonah, where can people find the podcast?
They can find it on audio wherever they get their podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon. They can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/@BeingJewishPodcast. And we're on TV on JBS. It's a cable network. It's on your Roku. It's on Fire Stick, and that stands for Jewish Broadcasting Service.
Excellent. Jonah, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
You bet. Jonah Platt there, host of Being Jewish with Jonah Platt. Interesting take. I'm glad he's getting some support out there in Hollywood for sure. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We come back here. I'm going to brag a little bit about some work I've had done at my house and the way you might be able to win the exact same package that I got, but you're going to have to hurry because they're going to draw a winner on June 6th. We're going to talk to my friends from Pro Outdoor coming up. Stay tuned.
The Marc Cox Morning Show on 97.1 FM Talk. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We have a really great commute right now. If you are just headed out, now is the time. We had a stall westbound 94 past Prowley Lane. It's on the right shoulder, but that's about it. I mean, eastbound 70, 64, 40, and 44 all look good. There's a little bit of volume on the Illinois side, kind of right there at the 55, 70, 64 split, and that's it. Other than that, we look great. This report brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking it for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? For same-day service, just call 314-781-5200 or schedule online, overheaddoorstlewis.com. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, my friend Matt Hayes is the owner of Home Shield Foundation Repairs, and he is a foundation specialist. He's very proud of that. And we had lunch, and he was describing to me that, a lot of people think they are just going to take care of their own sump pump problems, and they run out to the big box store, and the sump pump they end up buying ends up not being very reliable. He's got some advice on that. If you need a sump pump or you need one dug and put in your house to get rid of that hydrostatic pressure or water that keeps coming up through the floor, call Matt. He'll come out personally and take care of that for you with Home Shield Foundation Repairs. That's not all they do. They can fix cracks in the wall. All the moisture that has saturated the soil can find its way into your basement. He described it to me as we all kind of live on an empty swimming pool. If you have a basement, water's trying to find its way in. And once that happens, you run the risk of mold and ruining your belongings. You don't have to put up with that. When they waterproof your home, you're going to get a lifetime warranty. When they take care of a bowing or cracking wall, you're going to get a lifetime warranty. They use InvaBeam by Fortress, which comes with a lifetime warranty from the manufacturer. If you want to see what they do, they got great videos right on their website. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. It's HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
It's not too late for a deep spring cleaning on your home. Give my friends at Zerorez a call today. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129 and take $75 off your air duct cleaning package. Visit ZerorezSL.com and tell me what the Mark Reardon special, or call 314-474-2020.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 39 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
The Annie Fry Show.
Well, Tyrus, welcome back to the show.
Hey, when you got a spelling test that said 100% with a scratch and sniff on there, that was like major recess collateral. Like you could negotiate lunch snacks, and the cafeteria worker would give you extra pudding.
Weekdays from noon to 3. And now back to business on the Marc Cox Morning Show. Find everything Marc Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
A man walks down the street, he says, why am I soft in the middle now? Why am I soft in the middle? The rest of my life is so hard.
Welcome back. By the way, if you're on the Facebook page, check out just a bit earlier, posted up there a picture of my home with, I'm thrilled with my new outdoor lighting package installed by my friends at Pro Outdoor. It looks beautiful. I'm telling you, it just highlights your house. It really does. Makes it stand out, gives a great curb appeal. We've got Jason Cole in studio with us right now from Pro Outdoor. Jason, welcome in.
Yeah, thank you for having me in.
Yeah, great to have you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, and I appreciate you calling us friends after the installation. So
yeah,
you must have done a good job.
They did do a good job. In fact, I had them. They came out and they put the lights in, and it looked great. And my wife and I have decided to do some new landscaping, right? So I went to put a new tree in, and I realized one of the lights is right where I needed to put in the new tree. So your guy was kind enough to come back out and move it over a few inches so I could plant there. But other than that, it's just been flawless. It was beautiful.
Well, it's fantastic here because, you bring up a great point. When we do an installation like that for any of our customers, it's just not an installation and walk away. We're there to provide service and maintenance for you as you go on. You change your yard and your thoughts and how you want to do things within your yard, and we're there for you to take care of it.
Yeah. So I would encourage people, if you go to prooutdoor.com, there's a drop down there for their landscape lighting, and you just click on that and you'll see the form that you fill out. They're going to give away one of these landscape lighting packages worth $2,500. So you can get this done on your home, and you can't win if you don't enter. So I'd encourage people to go there. No, you don't have to buy anything. Just stick your name in the hat, right?
That's it. Yeah. Registration is open now, and we'll close on May 31st. And then the drawing will be held on June 6th.
Hey, Jason, one of our listeners, John, is asking if you do French drains.
French drains, yes, we do. Yeah,
Okay,
we take
there
care
you
of
go.
all sorts of drainage solutions for you. Pro Outdoor is more than just a lighting company. We started in 2001 in the St. Louis community. Our founder and another partner started out with 2 men in a truck and turned it into the company we are today. So do want to extend the great, sense of gratitude to the St. Louis community for supporting our company over the years. We work with both residential and commercial customers, serving various types of properties. Our core business is the irrigation, installation, maintenance, and repairs. But that's how we started the business. Since then, we've grown into full service, where we're providing more of the lawn care, fertilization, installation, and maintenance of drainage solutions for customers. Because they, like you said, there's French drains, and there's all sorts of different solutions we have to come up with based on the yards. And then, of course, our lighting solution.
Yeah, you guys have schooled me too, because I moved into a house with an irrigation system. I'd never had one.
Oh, I would love to have one.
I didn't know how to operate it. I didn't know how to turn it on, set the cycles. They came over, checked out everything, found out the rain sensor wasn't working. They were able to get everything working for me. Now, of course, I'm on their package.
Well,
and they turn it on in the spring and winterize it for me in the winter.
My lawn will be dead by August. You can only move the sprinkler around so much. If you have an irrigation system, it does make a big difference.
Kim, I've got your guy right here.
I know. And the lighting, you showed me the picture of your home. The lighting does make a big difference on those homes too.
Yeah.
Like it just adds it zhuzhes it up. That's the word that comes to mind.
It really does. Gives it curb appeal. Jason Cole from Pro Outdoor, thank you for coming down.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, great having you in here. Prooutdoor.com. Go put your name in the hat today, and you got to get it in there by the end of the month, and you have a chance of winning that great outdoor lighting system. Prooutdoor.com. Have a great long weekend. Guess what? We're off Monday. We'll see you back here Tuesday morning. Have a great Memorial Day.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving,